Hello, reader. This is Brittany Wang, the author of the audiobook you're about to listen to, which will be read for you by the very talented Talon David. Before the audiobook begins, please note that this story, Edge of Fates, is part 6, or episode 6, of a 6-book YA fantasy miniseries. If you missed parts 1 through 5, you can access all 6 audiobook videos through the playlist linked in the description below. I hope you enjoy the story so much.
Edge of Fates, The Gwyllion Battle. On Wings of Ash and Dust, Episode 6. By Brittany Wang. Narrated by Talon David. Chapter 1. Sailing back through the dark abyss of the tunnels, the ship creaks under my feet as I stand at the bow alone. I reach for my daggers hidden under my cloak for comfort, but when my icy fingers grip the patterned hilt, I shiver. The others have stationed themselves elsewhere on board. No secret conversations or comical insults are thrown around this time. Behind me, Vale leans quietly on the starboard railing, her feathered wings drooping as she stares aimlessly into the murky water. Hickory has his back pressed against the mast, hands clenched around his notebook, lost in thought. Alice is probably still resting in one of the cabins below because I don't see her. A splash in the water sounds. Aaron is swimming alongside the boat, his fin tail bobbing up and down. He must really be homesick for the sea. I don't blame him. After a day of medicinal pixie dust treatments in the Kobold Infirmary, we've been cleared for travel, sent off to Greymarrow for the final trial of the Ethidine. As we glide out of the shadowed tunnels into the sunlit silver sea, the relief I'd hoped for doesn't come. Sunbeams hit my face, but they do nothing to warm my frigid bones. It's gone. I can feel it deep in my gut. In the place where heat used to churn, bitter cold swirls in my stomach. My fire is gone for good, just like the mystic tome. Last night, Alice took me to a vacant room near the infirmary to filter her healing energy through my body. She urged me to try to summon the fire again and again. It was no use. Eventually, she sagged with exhaustion, and I convinced her to go back with the others to rest. "I'll be there in a minute," I'd told her. At the sound of Hickory and Vale's endless bickering, I stopped just outside the infirmary doorway, cloaked by the hallway's shadows. "That tome has been part of the Sylph archives for generations," Vale fumed. "I've been telling my mother it must be somewhere back at home. I knew I should have made you give it to me. Now that you've lost it, she's going to kill me." "I didn't lose it. Someone stole it," Hickory asserted again, poring over his notes about the tome as if he'd find some answers there. If Vale didn't seem just as distraught about its disappearance as he was, I wondered if Hickory would have accused her of stealing it herself. "Well then, we only have one choice now, don't we?" Aaron rolled over in his cot with a tired grumble, his back to them. "It's time we get some sleep and turn our focus to the final trial." Amidst their squabbling, I'd stayed silent in the hallway, not wanting to incite another argument by voicing what I feared. Could the fairy who stole the book be whoever Moonface was working for? The ship rocks suddenly, and I grab at the railing, anchoring myself to the present again. A hawk screeches overhead, and the screams of Moonface as he burned alive echo in my mind. The sound tears through my body, and I tuck my wings gingerly around me. When I first thought I'd killed Jasper after my crew attacked his ship, he was just a nameless soldier in a sea storm. At the time, I was working for Maverick, doing a job, following the Pirate Lord's orders. I did what I had to do in order to keep my true identity hidden. This time, it was personal. Self-defense, sure, but I'd completely lost control, consumed by my fiery rage until he was a heaping pile of ash. In an instant, I lost the one key I had to the many questions about my brother. I tuck my wings in tighter. It's only when the familiar beach at the base of the mountain comes into view that I feel like I can start to breathe again. Without the pomp and circumstance of a royal funeral, the scene of fishmongers casting nets and merchants preparing their sails is strangely nostalgic. Above the docks, Familiar steep slopes of gray rock and craggy cliffs loom over us as low-hanging clouds cover the tall mountain peaks in mist. Wood-burning smoke billows from the far east end of the beach, and my eyes follow it to the weather-worn shack of Finnegan's Pub, a tavern often frequented by sea-sailing visitors and local Gwyllions after a long day's work. I lick my lips, wishing we could stop there for a pint. Maybe that would warm my frigid body. Then I spot it. Unlit ceremony torches and a large boulder fitted over a tomb in the mountainside. Gaius's tomb. A gentle gloved hand lands on my shoulder as Alice steps up beside me. She stares at it too. I'm comforted to have someone who knows the pain of losing a sibling. It feels like just yesterday and yet a lifetime ago since I've been here last. Returning home should fill me with dread. Somehow, it ignites a small spark of hope. No matter what's happened thus far, it'll all be over soon. Then I'll finally fulfill the vow I made to my brother on this very beach. I've nearly made it, Gaius. This is for you. I won't let your death be in vain. After making port, Gwyllion guards guide our party up the steep mountain path. The deep roar of a dragon sounds from the high peaks above as we tread through shifting shale, up the meandering trails to Grey Marrow City. As we rise in altitude and set foot in the smog-filled city, the others stifle shivers, especially Aaron in his thin chiton, his breath turning to gray mist in the air. You all might need some warmer clothes in these parts. I motion to a stand displaying fur and hide skin garments in the market we just entered. No thanks, Alice signs with a shake of her head. She frowns at the animal skins and their carcasses hanging from the butcher next door. The gamey smell of smoked meat wafts toward us from the tavern at the other end of the square. Suit yourself. More for us. Vale runs a shivering hand over a fur coat, looking like she might snatch it up and wrap it around herself at any moment. Aaron leans closer to me and whispers, "Do they have anything that can thaw the cold stares we're getting?" Around us, muscled bladesmiths and weapon crafters look up from their forges with hammers and jagged blades gripped tightly in their hands. Even sprouts at their mother's feet stop to glower at us. Don't worry, I sigh. They're staring at me, not you. Like they did when I was first captured and paraded through these streets, my folks scowl at me with stern, ash-smeared faces. I shouldn't be surprised. Besides not being their favorite pixie to begin with, word has surely made it back here that I've been failing spectacularly in the competition. Except for the trial of beauty, I've come in last for every one of the challenges. And even if I'd been doing well all this time, even if I'm their only hope at the crown, I'm still the princess who deserted them to be a pirate. Gwyllions are never quick to forgive, if they do at all. Forgiveness is just another sign of weakness. I feel for the folded piece of paper in my pocket, the Queen's promise of my ship. I haven't come to win over the Gwyllions or even win the competition. I have one objective before I can be free and return to my own life. I must make sure Vale becomes queen. A chorus of steady drums and heavy boots pound down the main road. All in the vicinity turn to see Lord Phaedon, followed by a unit of 20 Gwyllion guards at his back. Instead of standard patrol garb, they're outfitted with razor-sharp weapons for active combat. Even my father wears his flowing military cape, sunbeams gleaming off his polished battle armor. They march in a slow, rhythmic beat that resounds off the mountain, heading straight toward us. The others draw back, but I stand firm as the Queen and a few of her own guards step in front of us. Each clan agreed to welcome the competitors in peace, she calls out above the march with her head held high, a bite to her words. What's the meaning of this forceful display? Phaedon halts and shoots a sharp hand into the air. His unit stops at once with a final stomp of their boots, the city square settling into silence. We're merely displaying our etho, Phaedon says coolly. The strength each competitor must exhibit to become the victor of the final trial. He strides over to the nearest blacksmith, holding out his hand. The burly fairy turns to his collection of blades and pulls out a two-handed longsword. He humbly kneels before Phaedon, offering up his very best to his lord. My father nods, gripping the leather hilt, swiping the blade hard a few times as the metal rings through the air.
Like its people, Gwyllion's steel does not bend or waver. It's not enough to appear sharp and strong. It must be tested.
He walks with the sword toward the butcher's shop across the way. The butcher steps aside as my father approaches an elk carcass hanging from a thick rope. Phaedon examines the blade one last time before thrusting it straight through the meat, the point of the blade cutting clean through to the other side. The queen flinches, and the others wince. I've seen this before. My father isn't finished testing the craftsmanship yet. He yanks the blade out and swipes long slashes again and again, testing either side of the double-edged weapon with guttural huffs that ruffle his braided beard. Finally, he releases his dragon wings and rises in the air. Leveling his arm at the rope above, he strikes with a spin that swiftly slices the coarse material in two. The carcass drops to the floor in a heap. Breathing heavily, my father snaps his fingers and two guards approach. One pays the butcher with a sizable pouch of farthings, while the other slings the heavy elk onto his back. They'll probably take it back to the fortress's kitchens for tonight's feast. Returning to the blacksmith, Phaedon wipes blood on his crimson cape and hands back the longsword.
Fine work,
says my father. The blacksmith puffs out his chest with pride as he receives it and bows low to Phaedon. With the display and my father's seal of approval, he'll sell that sword for 10 times its value now. Phaedon then turns to us with flecks of splattered blood on his armor.
For your final trial, each competitor will be allowed armor and a single or paired weapon. My folk have agreed to sell you any items you desire.
He motions us to the blacksmith's display, and we move tentatively to it. As Vale studies the inscriptions on some of the swords, Aaron picks up a warhammer, turning it over, testing the grip in his hand. Alice lifts a pair of flails with spiked metal spheres that jangle on chains at the end. Hickory picks up a large battle axe and nearly buckles over with the weight, the large head of it landing back down on the table with a thud. I move toward the throwing knives and pick up a pair. Each mirror their partner. I consider my daggers hidden at my side. Maybe I'll use those in the trial. As I watch Vale eye a saber with an intricate swirling hilt, I reconsider. Battling with my daggers wouldn't exactly honor my brother when I plan to lose to Vale on purpose.
You may also select a non-Gwyllion weapon, if you wish,
Phaedon adds.
But it must be made of non-magical material, as no magic is permitted here.
He waves his hand and the unit recites the Gwyllion mantra in booming voices. Magic is a crutch. Laughter is frailty. Tears are poison. Before I realize it, I'm mouthing along with the words I know all too well. Gwyllions are strong as steel. They do not yield.
This will be the final stage of the Ethodine.
Phaedon continues, stepping closer, keeping his eyes trained on me.
Even those of you at the bottom may yet have the opportunity to rise in ranks and win.
My eyebrows raise, but I school my features, giving him a stern nod. Though I'm not sure what he has planned, or how he thinks I could possibly secure him the crown now, I can't let my true intentions slip. Not when I'm so close to securing my freedom.
You have one last week for final preparations.
He straightens, hands folded behind his back.
So, train hard. The full rules will be explained on the day of the trial. All I can reveal is that you'll prove your strength by battling the greatest threat to your success yet.
His eyes scan the 5 of us.
Each other.
Chapter 2. As the week drags on, I work Vale tirelessly in my private training room, readying her for the final trial. In order to win, Veil will have to be skilled enough and strong enough to beat the others, and at least appear to be able to beat me. Today, she's actually doing fairly well. Her sleeveless tunic highlights the new tone in her arms that were once thin and pale. Again and again, she matches each of my blows. That is, until I sideswipe her with my leg, sending her to the ground. Cheap shot! Her eyes flash up at me. I laugh. You've been doing too well. I had to throw you off somehow. Stepping closer, I offer my hand. She smirks and grabs it. Instead of allowing me to pull her up, she yanks me down. Taken off guard, I stumble to the stone floor as she jumps up and holds me at the point of her blade. Never let your guard down. She repeats my own words from Tartarus back to me. How's that for the element of surprise? Very good. I laugh harder this time. Very pirate of you, in fact. Why, thank you. She curtsies. All right, let's go again, I say while getting up, brushing off my trousers. This time, no funny business. You only have a few days left. Veil doesn't raise her blade. Instead, she steps up to one of the narrow windows lining the stone wall, quietly watching a hawk dip and soar over the mountains nearby. Before we begin again, I want you to promise me something. She turns back to me, resting the point of her sword on the ground, holding the hilt with both hands. Her eyes narrow as she lifts her chin, a muscle twitching in her jaw. Okay, I say, keeping my stance ready. If this is another trick, I'm not falling for it again. Veil takes a deep breath. I want you to promise me that you won't let me win. I lower my blade. You want me to beat you? Well, no, I mean, she groans. Why must you always make everything so difficult? Me? I exclaim. You're the one who's not making sense. Spit it out already. Fine, Veil yells, then shakes her head. Honestly, Quinn, with how we bicker, you're like the sister I never wanted. A smile tugs at her lips. What I mean is, I'm going to take everything you've taught me and do my best. But I want you to do your best too. If I'm truly meant to be queen, I'll beat you and anyone else on my own. Win or lose, I want to do so fair and square. She looks to me for a response. My mouth hangs open. I can only think of one thing. What about your mother? What about her deal? Screw her deal, Veil says firmly. I gape again. Veil lives for her mother's approval. Who is this pixie standing before me? I'm so tired of worrying about what my mother thinks, always following her orders. Aren't you? She steps toward me. I want to offer you a new deal, one where we both find out what we're made of. Either way, you can return to being Queen of the Sea, or you become Queen of all the Phelan. Not a bad deal, if you ask me. Me? A queen? I spurt out a laugh. Phaedon did say even the lowest-ranking competitor could still have a chance at the crown during this final trial. I scoff at the idea. Queen Quinn. Do you know how ridiculous even the name sounds? Veil stares at me without a hint of humor. Quinn, I'm being serious. Seriously insane? I fold my arms. Listen, we've both gone through so much to get this far, to get what we want. Even if it's cheating the system, why mess that up? Since when did you start to care so much? I eye her suspiciously. There has to be a catch, a new game she's playing. What do you gain if you lose? My dignity. Veil's eyes drop. If I win because you hold back, I'll never know if I'm fit to be queen. She raises her sword. It's different from the one she usually uses. This one has a thin, double-edged blade, a golden crossguard with gilded feathers, and the sylph's half-sun, half-moon crest etched into the pommel. This was my father's sword. Mother gave it to me to use for the trial, she says with a sad inflection to her voice. She shakes her head. I can't go out there and wield his weapon of honor, knowing what we're about to do. Veil, look, I start to argue with her again. She takes a forceful step forward, and I resist the urge to draw back. You once told me that in order to win, I have to know the goal behind the swing of my blade. That a weapon is only as strong as the one who wields it. Her eyes bore into me as I nod, impressed that she actually listened to what I said, let alone took it to heart. Well, she sighs. I think I'd rather know that my father would be pleased with me for doing the right thing instead of cheating my way to the throne. Besides myself, he's the only one I really want to make proud. Will you help me do that? A tightness pulls at my chest. Like Vale with her mother's expectations, I think of my father. How much do I let what he thinks affect my life, my goals, and my decisions, for better or for worse? Though I'd never admit it out loud, all I ever wanted was to be strong enough for him. Now, the only fairy I truly want to make proud is no longer alive to see me win or lose. Still, the urge to honor Gaius above all else bubbles to the surface. So, Vale takes another step toward me, holding out a hand to seal the deal. What do you say? I trudge through the sand, running my fingers along the jagged mountainside as I make my way down the beach toward Gaius's tomb. Reaching the stone that separates me from where his body lies, it's as if the past 5 weeks never happened. But so many things have changed. I've changed. Hello, brother. I stuff my hands into my pockets. I'm not sure what I've come to say exactly. I guess I just want to feel close to him. Since Moonface's death, my nightmares of Gaius have ceased. For the first time in over 5 weeks, I sleep soundly, as if his spirit has finally been able to move on from haunting my dreams, as if avenging his death has brought him peace. I thought I'd feel peace too. Instead, not having the nightmares is somehow unsettling. Maybe my dreams didn't have anything to do with the mystic prophecy after all. Most of all, I find myself missing seeing him. I just wanted you to know that I didn't let you down this time. I mean, things started out rocky. You know me. I half smile. If you were here, I think you'd be proud of me. I think I've even made some friends. I kick a pebble toward the mountainside and watch it tumble to the unlit torch near the tomb, the one I ignited with my fire just before I left for the Ethodine. My fire. Though I've stopped shivering, my heat hasn't returned. I've tested it a few more times, trying to summon the anger that usually brings it out. Not even a spark manifested. Looking at my hands, I see Moonface in flames again. Gaius scorched. My mother fighting through fire and smoke. I hear their screams and wince as Alice's words come back to me. I do sense one thing, though. Fear. I lean back against the cold stone barricading the tomb. I wish you were here, brother. There's so much I still don't understand, like this trial. You always knew what to do. I pace, focusing on the more immediate trouble. If I let Vale beat me, I'll be on the sea in a matter of days with a new ship and crew. That's where I belong. I try to hold on to my confidence. Instead, it drifts out to sea like the tide. Vale wants me to fight my hardest. She wants to have the chance to win with her own strength. I admire that, I do. But if I go back on my deal with the Queen, who knows what she'll do? Or worse, if I win. I hesitate. I'd become queen. Though that possibility is what I feared the most, as I speak the words, my heart leaps in my chest. If I were queen, what kind of queen would I be? Chapter 3. I agree to Vale's deal the next day, and she trains with me more vigorously than ever. She's not the only one. Throughout the week, I glimpse the others practicing around the fortress grounds as well. They're all drilling hard. They each have something to fight for. Still, whether we want to admit it or not, we aren't the cutthroat competitors we started out as. Most of the others still want the crown, but all of us can't wait until this madness is over. Before I know it, it's the last night before the trial of strength. I suggest that we sneak out of the fortress to celebrate, and I know just the place.
This is the place you were so excited about?
Hickory takes a long look at Finnegan's pub as we join Aaron and Alice on the beach outside. Alice makes a sour face. It looks... She starts to sign, then pauses and finishes with, nice. I laugh. Finnegan's pub is a complete hole in the wall, I have to admit. The sea salt from the waves have stripped the siding, there's still a hole in the roof from a brawl that happened years ago, and the sign above the door sits just as crooked as it always has. Still, it'll be perfect for tonight. Trust me, I say. Only the lowest dregs of society trek out here at this time of night. It's perfect.
How can we refuse when you've given us such masterful disguises?
Aaron's voice drips with sarcasm as he yanks the wool cap I gave him further over his midnight blue hair, though it still peeks out at the brim.
No one will recognize us, for sure.
I roll my eyes with a smirk. Anyone in the pub will be too drunk to care who we are. Still, I pull my hood over my head and feel for the daggers under my cloak. If there's any trouble, I'll be ready. Plus, the Pixie Ale is the best you'll find in all of Phelan, I add.
I'll be the judge of that.
Aaron rubs his hands together. We all laugh.
Where's Vale?
Hickory asks as we approach the doorway of the noisy tavern. Aaron shrugs.
She said she's busy getting some last-minute training in.
I admire Vale's increased dedication since she decided to compete fairly. I glance back at the city, wondering how she's doing. Aaron grabs my hand, shooting me a dimpled smile.
She'll catch up with us later. Don't let her delay our fun.
Inside the pub, we're assaulted by boisterous shouts and the strong scent of ale and battered fish. Bodies sweaty from the day's work fill the wooden chairs and bar stools. Many are already in heated arm wrestling matches or too busy throwing knives at a target to notice us. An angry grunt followed by a chorus of low chuckles sounds as chairs skid back from a nearby table.
What was going on over here?
Hickory peers at the abandoned cards and empty steins left behind. Looks like they were playing a little Fury's Field, I say. And somebody lost. Badly.
A game?
Aaron puts a hand to his chest in feigned shock.
You mean some of you actually indulge in fun here?
I shoot him a look. The Gwyllion guard always said the game's purpose is more to teach battle strategy. Growing up around the guard, Gaius and I learned Fury's Field young and played it often. I smile fondly at the memory. We'd eventually grown so good at it that the guards refused to play with us anymore.
How does it work?
Alice signs as she takes a seat and the rest of us follow. My hands itch with anticipation as I shuffle the deck and flip over a few cards. Okay, each player starts with 10 cards that either have different-sized platoons, weapons, or armor.
Interesting.
Hickory picks up one of the cards, critiquing its crude depiction of an axe with his good eye.
What are these?
Aaron asks, pointing to numbers at the bottom of a shield card. Each card has a farthing coin value and an attack or defensive value. I pick up a die and roll it between my hands. Based on rolls and trades in each round, you build up the strongest army you can and attack opponents until they're slaughtered. I pound the table joyfully. By Phelan, I've missed this. The three of them look at me with concerned stares. Until they lose all their cards and are knocked out of the game, I hastily amend.
You know what would make this more fun?
Aaron strokes his beardless chin.
Adding cards for incantations or charms.
Yes, or magical herbs and creatures. Alice signs, leaning in closer. I throw up my hands. Look, I didn't make the rules, okay?
This is a Gwyllion game.
Hickory shrugs in agreement.
No magic here.
Right. I can tell they'll need a bit more convincing. I arch an eyebrow. I've heard it gets more fun if you have to drink each time you lose a battle. Aaron slaps the table.
I'm in.
The four of us drink and laugh well into the night. On our third round, Aaron's the first to get knocked out again after Alice steals his armor and Hickory throws down a weapon that pulverizes his platoons. Aha! Hickory crows smugly.
I honestly thought you'd be better at this. Well, I would be if you all weren't ganging up on me,
Aaron says, tossing his now useless weapon cards on the table before draining the last of his ale. We thank you for your contribution, I smirk, scooping the cards up and distributing the spoils between the three of us remaining as he stands.
Giving up so soon?
Alice signs to him, and I relay the message.
Can't keep losing properly if I don't have something to drink, now can I?
He tips his empty mug at us before taking off to the bar. It's possible I've had one too many drinks myself, as I somehow get knocked out of the game next. Aaron still hasn't returned, so I get up to look for him. My head feels a bit dizzy as I stand, and I grab onto the back of my chair to steady myself, stifling a giggle. I guess I haven't had a real drink in quite a while. Looking around, I glimpse Aaron's midnight blue hair peeking out from under his wool cap and slowly make my way over, making sure not to bump into anything. Not surprisingly, he's at the bar, hunched over another mug of ale. You drink enough for the both of us yet? I ask. I expect to face the drink-hardy Aaron I first met aboard the Calypso, but as I reach the bar, the stein is still filled to the brim. Now that I think about it, I don't think I've seen him drink at all since we entered the Ethodine. He sighs, thoughtfully turning the mug in a circle.
I thought I'd need a few more drinks in me to have the courage to say something. Something I've been meaning to tell you for a while now. Maybe I don't need it.
He nudges the mug away, foaming ale splashing over the side. Is that right? I lean on the bar, snatching the mug and taking a swig myself. Can't let a good drink go to waste. Lay it on me. This should be interesting. His dimple surfaces as he points a finger at me.
See, that's the kind of thing I like about you. You never pull any punches. In fact, that's what I've been wanting to talk to you about.
He turns on the stool to face me, his hands on his knees.
I like you, Quinn.
I've grown fond of you, too. I pat his shoulder absently as I lift the mug to my lips again.
Quinn, I'm being serious.
Aaron persists, trying again.
I mean, I really like you. Heck, I might even love you.
I snort, the ale practically spurting out of my nose. I wipe it on my sleeve and struggle not to laugh in his face. You're obviously more drunk than I thought. Come on, let's get you back to your room before you hurt yourself. I take his hand and pull him off the stool toward the front door.
No, really,
Aaron insists as I drag him through the crowd. As we reach the outskirts, he tugs me back into his chest until I'm face to face with his ocean eyes.
I haven't had the nerve to tell you before, but I think I love you. Not because I can't have you or even the alluring way you can resist my persuasive gift. In fact, I love that I can't control you. I love your crazy laugh.
He tucks a straight curl behind my ear with a gentle chuckle.
I even love the way you bicker with me, the way you challenge me to be a better version of myself.
I blink. He sounds as sober as it gets. When I approached him at the bar, a profession of love was the last thing I expected. Recalling his soft kiss in Vindoria, I take a step back and command the flush in my cheeks to dissipate. Well, I promise you, you're the only puck in Phelan who sees those as desirable traits. And need I remind the nymph prince that he is already betrothed?
I don't care anymore.
He shakes his head, still holding my hand gently in his.
I don't love Arista, and we both know any feelings she has for me are fabricated.
He leans in close again, and my heartbeat pulses in my throat.
If you love me, I'll know it's not because I'm making you do it, or anyone else. I know it would be real.
He searches my eyes, waiting for me to say something. I can barely breathe. I let go of his hand and turn away, though my heart thuds with the desire to hear those words again. The 3 words I've never heard from anyone in my life. Not even my own father, Not even Gaius. Can I really believe them coming from a puck I've only known for a few short weeks? How am I supposed to know if I feel the same, let alone have the courage to say them back? Panic chokes me, and suddenly the noise of the pub mixing with my woozy thoughts makes the room spin. Someone enters through the pub door, letting in a gust of cool, salty air, and I all but dash through it. As my feet sink into the sand, the chatter of the pub turns to muffles, and I breathe in deeply. Aaron's footsteps follow.
If you don't feel the same, it's okay, really. You don't have to say it back. I just needed to be honest with you. I can't keep playing these games. I needed you to know the truth.
He pauses, a heavy silence filling the space between us.
And because I love you, there's one more truth I have to tell you.
More? I don't turn around, pretending to focus on the clouded night sky, searching for the calming anchor of silent stars. I don't know if I can handle more. Aaron lets out a heavy sigh.
If I have the guts to tell you that I love you, I should have the guts to tell you where Gaius is.
I whip around. Now he's just being cruel. How can he bring up Gaius so casually, especially right now? I know where Gaius is, Aaron, I try to say calmly. He's buried just down the beach. We can go visit him tomorrow if you'd like.
No.
Aaron steps toward me, gently taking hold of my shoulders.
That's what I'm trying to tell you, Quinn.
He looks me straight in the eye.
Gaius isn't in that tomb.
My eyebrows furrow. He might be a little drunk, but he's also dead serious. His words crash over me like a bucket of cold water, sobering me immediately. What are you saying? I'm either about to punch him in the face or have my world flipped upside down. Aaron hesitates.
Gaius is alive.
What? An icy chill runs down my spine. He's alive? My head spins so fast I almost don't hear Aaron as he continues.
I thought he was dead until recently, too, though for different reasons than you might think.
He takes off his wool cap and runs a shaky hand through his hair before looking up at me.
I didn't want to tell you until I was sure, but I'm sure, Quinn. Gaius is alive, and you're so much more like him than you know.
I hold my breath as fear and conviction swirl in his eyes.
It all started when Gaius and the rest of us first arrived in Eldor for the Ethodine's opening ceremonies. During our time there, he'd started researching all he could find about the mystics and the Pneuma, just like you have. And once Hickory found out, that loon kept encouraging Gaius with all his insane theories.
Aaron glances back at the pub to make sure no one else is listening, dropping his voice.
Then Gaius went as far as to run away with a pneumanic relic. That's when the Queen summoned me. She assured me that he wouldn't be in any trouble, that she just needed the item back. So, I told her where I thought he might have gone.
His gaze strays to the sand, kicking at it with his foot.
When the Queen returned with her guard, she said he wouldn't let them take him alive. At the time, I believed her. She said he killed himself, Quinn, that his obsession with the Pneuma drove him mad. Whatever the case, the Queen knew your father would blame her for Gaius' death, threatening war again, with the rest of the clan sure to follow. She said in order to keep the peace, she needed to cover it up.
Confusion knots my stomach as I search his eyes, trying to weave together Aaron's string of stories into any kind of logic. Schemes? Relics? Cover-ups? Aaron is sounding less like himself and more like Hickory every minute. You're not making any sense, I finally say, shaking my head. First you say he's alive, and now you're saying he killed himself? You're confused. Gaius died of the plague. My father saw his body. The words die on my lips as Moonface's confession comes back to me.
Your brother put up a good fight, too.
He never actually said he died. Aaron lets go of me and leans on the pub wall, turning his face away.
The Queen was concerned your father would want to see Gaius' body before he was buried. I didn't want to do it, Quinn, honest. But somehow she knew about my silver tongue and my short-term fling with Vale.
She said that if I didn't help her, she'd expose my gift and claim that I used it to enchant Vale into falling for me. I told you that if my clan found out about my gift, it would destroy their trust in me as their future leader. Never mind the fact that I'd started a relationship with the princess of another clan. At the time, it seemed like the end of the world if the truth came out. So I did what she asked. His eyes turned back to me, pleading, full of remorse. I'm so sorry, Quinn. I wish I hadn't. You have to believe me. No. Aaron can't be saying what I think he's saying. I grip his shoulders hard and give them a shake, forcing him to look me in the eye. I need to hear him say it. Spit it out, Aaron. What did you do? Pain swims in his eyes. The Queen. She brought a body riddled with the plague back to your father, and she made me persuade him that it was Gaius. I'm the one who made him believe that Gaius died of the gnolls. Dizziness threatens to knock me over again. I picture my father staring down at the plague-riddled body he was forced to believe was his dead son. Is this why Hickory warned me to stay away from Aaron? Did he suspect Aaron had something to do with Gaius's death all this time and not tell me? I turn to face the mountain, unable to look at Aaron any longer. My fists clench as I try to make sense of the revelation shooting through my mind. When I did it, I really believed Gaius killed himself. The Queen said he was crazy, that it was his own fault. Aaron tries to explain. I hate myself for it. Lying to your father, lying to you. But I was trying to protect you. When I first realized you were Gaius' sister, I felt responsible for you. I vowed to myself that I would keep you safe, to make sure you survived when I thought Gaius didn't, to make up for my part in what I believed had happened. I had no idea that I'd fall in love with you. Then Vale found out that he's alive. I spin back around. Vale knows too? I yell, inches away from his face, my pulse pounding in my ears. Where is he, Aaron? Where's Gaius? Aaron stumbles backward. Vale didn't want to tell you yet, but she's been digging deeper into her mother's affairs while testing your poison. She overheard her talking about Gaius. Vale thinks her mother has had him all this time, maybe in the royal dungeons or something. We don't know why. We didn't want to tell you until we had a plan to get him back. I just couldn't keep lying to you. It's been eating me alive. I stare at his sincere face, but all I can see is wit. The betrayal, the lies, all of it. Bile rises in my throat. He reaches for me. I pull away. I can't stay here another second. I'm going to be sick. Where are you going? Aaron stumbles after me as I pound through the sand. I can't believe you waited this long to tell me, I yell. Vale only found out that he's alive last week. No, Aaron! I spin around. No matter what the truth is now, all this time you knew he didn't die from the plague. You even knew that the Queen had something to do with it. I'm shaking, bitter cold rushing through my veins. I buried my brother. I've been mourning his death, and you just watched. I opened up to you about my dreams and suspicions, and you let me believe that I'd gone insane. Aaron hesitates, which only angers me more. I storm off. Quinn, Aaron pleads. I pick up my pace. Would it really have done you any good to know what I thought was true? That Gaius killed himself? The last thing I wanted to do was break your heart all over again. Even though we know he's alive now, who knows if we can even get him back? We? I shriek, whipping back to face him, sand kicking into the air. We will not be getting him back. You've been lying to me ever since we met. I haven't kept anything from you since we were in Dryad territory. At least, not anything this important. I glare. There's no we anymore. Please, Quinn. Aaron staggers closer, but I draw back and lift my chin toward the mountain. I need to find her, I say, my heart pounding like a platoon of Gwyllion drums. Who? The Queen. I clench my fists. Quinn, don't. Worry furrows Aaron's brow as he searches my expression. It's late. She's probably already in her chambers back at the fortress, guarded by her soldiers. You'll only make things worse. I don't wait for him to finish. Flying off in a fury, I leave Aaron alone on the beach. Landing on the Queen's balcony, I draw my daggers. My ragged breath forms white puffs in the cool air. I'm so livid, I wouldn't be surprised if it's smoke coming from my flaring nostrils. All this time, she's had my brother rotting in some dungeon. She pretended to be kind to me, made promises I'm not sure she even intended to keep. None of that matters anymore. I whip back the balcony curtains and 2 guards spring into action. Eyeing the gaps in their armor, I charge forward, driving my daggers deep into their flesh. "Where is she?" I roar as they writhe on the floor. They only moan in response. Another voice clears her throat. On the other side of the candlelit room, the Queen is dressed in her violet nightrobe, surrounded by her birds, reading a scroll in a corner chair. Unprotected and unarmed. Perfect. She looks up as I approach, but shows no alarm at my unannounced arrival or at the blades in my hands.
"Ah, Quinn, just who I wanted to see."
The feeling's mutual. I point a dagger at her. "No more games, Your Highness. I know you have my brother, and I demand to have him returned. Now." I expect her to call for help, or at least look shocked. She does neither.
"My dear, I have no idea what you're talking about."
Standing, she walks to a crystal bottle of red wine sitting on the nearby mantel. "You can't deny it," I practically spit, following her with my blade. "Aaron told me everything. Vale knows you have him too. Tell me where he is or I'll—"
"Or you'll what, exactly?"
She casually pours a glass.
"If you kill me, I won't be able to tell you where he is."
My stomach drops. For all my anger, the truth didn't truly hit me until she confirmed it. "So, you do have him." I step closer, my hands shaking. Gaius is really alive.
"My dear, you should know by now that I don't take kindly to threats or thieves, or those who persistently snoop in my business."
She turns, drink in hand.
"I've tried to be patient, given you all the proper warnings. I thought for sure that after miraculously healing from my poison, you'd come to your senses."
There it is. I was right. She poisoned me, the witch. Does Vale know this too? My supposed friends, keeping so many things from me. The Queen takes a sip of wine, eyeing me.
"You continue to stick your nose where it doesn't belong, just like your brother. I told you to keep your distance from those who would lead you astray. Aaron, Hickory. You don't listen very well, do you, my dear? You've even corrupted my precious Vale with your ridiculous plan for a fair fight."
I gawk at her. It wasn't my... How do you even know about that? Vale never would have told her, and I haven't told anyone. How does the Queen always know so much? A half smile creeps up her face.
"Oh, I have little spies everywhere."
She lifts her hand and a hawk flies in from the window, landing on the mantel. It stares back at me as the Queen pets its feathers, feeding it an odd-looking pellet. The bird swallows and immediately opens its beak. Like a parrot, my voice miraculously comes from its mouth. "What about your mother? What about her deal?" The bird says in my voice. "Screw her deal," the creature says next, this time in Vale's timbre. My stomach plummets. No. The Queen shakes her head solemnly.
"If that's how you both feel about it, then you've given me no choice."
She snaps her fingers. 4 more guards emerge from the shadows, blades drawn as they surround me, along with the original 2 guards who force themselves to stand.
"I gave you the deal of a lifetime, Quinn, and you spat in my face."
Queen Gwendolyn sighs.
"You could have walked away tomorrow, a free fairy with a bright future. But I'm cancelling our deal, effective immediately."
Her expression turns fierce, eyes flashing. She speaks slowly and clearly so I don't miss a detail.
If you don't make sure Vale wins tomorrow, or if you tell anyone about what you think you know, then you'll never see your brother again.
She takes a step toward me as her guards close in.
And I assure you, this time, he'll really be dead.
Chapter 4. I'm lost in a daze as the Queen's guards escort me back to my room. My brother's alive. He's been out there all this time, in her clutches, and I don't even know why. The door locks behind me and I sink to the floor. I'm right back where I started, with nothing to show for it. I risked my life entering a competition to honor a brother who never died, and now I'll lose on purpose for a freedom I can no longer have. The Queen tricked me. She lied about everything. So many of them did, including my supposed friends. One more to add to my list of betrayers. I claw my way onto the bed, wrapping myself in the sheets. But all I do is toss and turn. I picture Gaius alone in some murky dungeon, possibly being tortured day after day. Or worse. When I try to close my eyes, the fear of my nightmares possibly returning snaps me awake. Though, how could any bad dream be worse than this reality? Throwing off the sheets, I pace my room, trying to think of something, anything I can do. If I run away and Vale loses to someone else tomorrow, the Queen will kill my brother. If I try to tell anyone, she'll kill him. If I try to win, she'll kill him. I want to scream. My fingers itch to destroy something before I destroy myself. Digging my nails into the curtains draped around my bed, I drag them down with a rip. I reach for my daggers, ready to fling them at the mirror above my dresser. But the painting of my mother stares back at me. I halt. The memory of her choking in the flames, my flames, seizes me by the throat. I grip the dagger hilts tighter, my fingers finding the ridged patterns where the pneumanic symbol resides. Dropping the blades, they clatter to the ground as I slump to the floor. Aaron's words from Isinglass come back to me.
I suppose none of us are really in control of our own fate.
Maybe he was right. Even if I can't gain my freedom, Gaius stays alive. Before I know it, a red sun is rising and a dull hangover from the pub settles in. When the servants come for me, I'm a disheveled mess, my eyes ringed with dark circles, my room in tatters.
By Phelan, we have a lot of work ahead of us,
one of them says as the other crosses her arms with a grunt. It doesn't matter. The Queen has won, and I've lost everything. Underneath the arena, pebbles skid down the walls of my preparation room as the rumble of the crowd radiates through the stone ceiling. It isn't helping my headache or my nerves. My attendants can tell I'm tense. One works on my shoulders while the other sharpens my daggers. Don't bother, I want to say. I might as well be going out there with my bare hands. Before I can do anything rash, my father's voice comes from behind me.
Quintessa,
he starts. As I stand to meet him, he corrects himself.
Quinn.
With a wave of his hand, the attendants scatter, leaving us alone. Father. I nod, straightening my back. I'm surprised to see him, never mind to hear him use the nickname that he hates. He takes a step closer and I freeze. He awkwardly pats my shoulder, his last touch landing with a squeeze. I nearly fall back into my chair. Is that the smallest hint of a smile on his face? He reaches to his side, pulling his own sword from its sheath and holding it out to me.
Do Grey Marrow proud, little warrior.
My mouth parts, pressure forming in my eyes. Little warrior. The name he'd called me and the memory Alice recovered. I swallow hard. I grip the leather-bound hilt of his broadsword tentatively, admiring the craftsmanship of the double-edged Gwyllion steel blade. Dragon icons are carved into each end of the crossguard. I swing it through the air. Perfectly balanced. Light, but deadly. I look back at my father in awe. He's already walking down the hallway that leads up to the arena. I can't believe it. After all this time, does he really believe in me? Has the past really been forgiven? Sucking in a breath, I move to follow. My feet are heavy with every step. My father thinks I'll try to win today. My stomach drops. You may not feel the same after I lose. As I step into the open arena, a blast of wind stings my cheeks. At least my lightweight armor and the dragon scale garment underneath block some of the cold. Scanning the space, I recall watching many training sessions and battle simulations that were fought here. Built on top of an extinct volcano, the sealed-up mouth of the crater forms a perfect surface for a battleground littered with pillars and other obstacles. The elevated stone seating encircling the battlefield is packed with fae from all clans, each relegated to their own section around the stadium. They wave their clan-colored flags and banners, vying to see who will finally become their supreme ruler. I even spot Layman and his warriors in the Dryad section to my right. He's looking at Alice, who stands below her clan with her preparation team. As she meets his gaze, her face lights up. Though she'll do her best today, I know Layman being there is already a victory for her. Her gaze pans, landing on me. Her smile falters. "Where did you go last night?" She signs the question as discreetly as she can. "Are you okay?" Alice is the only one I might want to talk to. But now is not the time. There are fairies in the crowd that can translate our signs. "I'm fine," I lie. Alice frowns, not convinced. I look away. From the other clan stations around the wide open area, Hickory's brows raise in question while Aaron's wings tense, as if he might fly over to me at any moment. Then there's Vale. She's busy inspecting her feathered helmet before practicing the swing of her father's sword. My fist tightens around my own father's blade. My current predicament isn't exactly her fault. Still, she lied to me too. "As your current ruler, I welcome you all to the 5th and final trial of the Etherdyne," Queen Gwendolyn calls through a horn. My father stands next to her, both of them on a canopied platform between the Sylph and Gwyllion sections. The stadium quiets, though anticipation thrums through the air like the buzz of locusts. "By the end of today, we will all know who is the master of the collective Ethia, and the next queen or king of Phelan," she says, and the clans cheer wildly. "Lord Phaedon will now explain the rules of the trial of strength. May the best fairy win." The queen offers my father her horn, but he waves it away.
"Every leader must exemplify great strength in order to lead well and command respect."
His voice booms across the arena, and the crowd grows still. The 5 of us exchange glances. The time has come.
2 at a time, the heirs will battle in a series of elimination rounds, with only their weapon of choice and their raw strength to aid them. No magic. Only 2 outcomes will end each match.
His eyes land on me, and they glint in the sunlight.
Surrender or death.
I nearly drop my blade as gasps ripple through the crowd. What? He can't be serious. It's one thing to possibly be killed by a creature, a poison, or a trap. To kill each other is murder. I look to the other heirs as we share the same confusion and terror. I may be livid at most of them right now, but it's not enough to want to kill them. The Gwyllions remain stone-faced while the other sections murmur in the stands. For the other clans, I can tell surrender is just as unacceptable. The ultimate sign of weakness. Just what my father intended. To show the rest of the clans how weak they really are without their magic. And if death is an option, it'll be that much easier for the winning heir to appoint a new figurehead for that clan. One they can more easily control. just what the Queen desires. My father motions to a series of flags mounted vertically on a tall wooden board. Each one waves a different clan's color next to our collective points thus far.
The order of who will battle whom will be determined by the current ranking from the previous trials, giving the higher-ranked competitors the advantage.
As the points currently stand, Alice and I are in last place. We'll face off first, our red and green flags at the bottom. The winner will then face Hickory, then Aaron, and then finally Vale, who has the most overall points. In the previous trials, we gained more points based on how we ranked in performance. In this one, we'll only gain points if we force our opponents to surrender or leave them lying lifeless on the arena floor. My gut twists as my father continues.
If an heir chooses to shame themselves and surrender, then they'll relinquish their weapon and kneel, recognizing the victor as the stronger opponent. In this case, the winner must halt in their attack, allowing the loser to live with their failure. This will continue until we have one supreme winner and ruler of Phelan.
Though my father knew my ranking before finalizing the rules of the trial, he appears thoroughly content with the arrangement. Based on the scoreboard, I'd have to beat every single one of them to get enough points to gain the crown. If he truly wants me to win, then he's not making it easy. The Queen catches my eye. She looks just as pleased, reminding me of what I truly need to do. It's my responsibility to make sure Vale wins. Gaius's life depends on it. Either way, I'll have to battle all of them to get to Vale. By then, I'll be good and tired, possibly pretty banged up, making it easier for her to beat me. But first, I have to get there. If Vale loses to anyone else, then my brother is dead. Maybe I should have told my father about Gaius when I had the chance. Maybe he would have believed me. Maybe he could have done something. Too late. Chapter 5. As the others clear the ring and take their seats, I take a deep breath. Alice and I slowly approach the center of the battlefield. Alice carries a dryad spear. The staff is nearly as tall as she is, with a jagged blade on one end that's longer than her forearm. Stopping a few feet away, she grips the staff tightly, resting the base on the stone floor. She searches my face as if trying to read me and how hard I intend to fight. I avoid her gaze, looking to the stands, tensing my muscles. Out of all of them, I want to face Alice the least. Layman leans forward in the crowd, furrowing his brow as his eyes dart between me and his sister. I promised him I'd protect Alice, but I can't show weakness and risk losing Gaius again. My only option is to force her to surrender. A gong sounds. Alice and I circle each other. Don't make me hurt you. I give her a hard stare, wishing she could hear my thoughts. Instead, Alice firms her features and sprints toward me, raising her spear. Eyes widening at her aggression, I leap back. I catch my balance on the pillar behind me and swipe at her side. She blocks with a rapid strike, graceful and practiced, like a fierce dancer. I knew Alice was skilled, but she's obviously gone through considerable training, perhaps with Layman himself. I'll need to slow her down. Ducking under another stab, I dive past her, slicing the back of her calf. The dryads gasp as Alice lands on her knees. Her face scrunches in pain and determination as she faces me. It makes me regret what I'm about to do, especially because with the crown, I know she could finally take control of her own life, exposing her healing gift to the world. She could use it to help so many without hope, like her sister had been. Rising, Alice releases her wings and charges. I'm slow to deflect the jagged blade, trying not to wound her more than I have to. I flinch as the cold steel slices my arm. The gash stings with fresh blood and cold air. She has much to gain. I have everything to lose, I remind myself. I picture my brother in my mind, hardening my resolve. Alice can heal herself with time, but Gaius could die today. Rolling my shoulders back, I charge, Slash, slash, slash. I get in multiple cuts at her arms before she can react. Every cut punches me in the gut. She doesn't deserve this. If only I can just get her to drop her weapon. She lifts the spear to block my next attack. I come down hard on the staff. It slices in two. Alice falters, but holds firmly to the half with the blade, casting the other to the side. Blast. I thrust a kick to her chest. She goes down hard. I pin her down, a knee on her arm and my blade at her throat. This is your last chance. Drop your weapon and surrender, I say loudly so all can hear, especially the Queen and my father. They have to believe I would kill her if I have to. Alice wriggles under my grip, not ready to give up. My fingers find where I cut her arm before. She hisses from the touch. I shoot my thoughts to her as quickly as I can. I'm sorry, Alice. I grit my teeth, hoping she can hear me. I don't want to kill you, but I can't lose this fight. Please understand. I don't have a choice. Alice tenses, her deep brown eyes searching mine, then softening. Her body relaxes. Has she seen my memories again? Does she know Gaius is in trouble? Before I can ask, Alice drops the remnant of her weapon.
Quintessa of the Gwyllions is the victor!
My father announces, relishing the victory. The arena is devoid of applause. Most of the crowd doesn't seem to know how to react to a pirate nearing the crown. Fae of every clan turn to each other in soft whispers. Even my own folk only offer blank stares. I don't care. I'm one step closer to Vale, to freeing Gaius. Shifting off Alice, I offer my hand, and she takes it as I pull her up. Her attendants rush in with wound wrappings. She waves them off. Still focused on me, Alice bows in a sign of respect before taking a knee. Wiping away the wavy ringlets sticking to my forehead, I give her a small bow in return. You fought bravely, I say. I wish I had time to say more, to fully explain. Alice nods, her only signal that we're okay, as my father's voice rings over the stadium.
Hickory of the Kobolds will now enter.
Of course, my father gives me no time to recuperate. Still bleeding from my arm, I take my stance. Hickory approaches the field cautiously, looking back at Alice's injuries as she passes. I don't want to have to hurt Hickory any more than Alice. In many ways, he's become like a second brother to me. One glance at the Queen reminds me that my true brother is still in grave danger. Why didn't Hickory tell me he'd been feeding Gaius the same obsessions that would lead him to wherever he is? Sure, he tried to warn me about Aaron, but why not tell me of his own involvement? Why let me get wrapped up in all of this, just as Gaius had? As I raise my sword, the reminders of his betrayal fuel my resolve to show no mercy. Hickory tentatively grips his battle axe as it glints in the sunlight. The gong sounds. I lunge. He meets my blade in the air with a clang, deflecting the strike with the axe blade. I swing again. Another block. Hickory doesn't go on the offensive, though he holds good form as I advance. Even with his blind eye, he counters every one of my strikes, ready for every swing before I can even make them. In a moment of distraction, he catches me by surprise and swings low, nicking my leg. I stagger backward in shock. I know how great his desire is to escape the dark tunnels. Is he willing to kill me for it? I come at him harder, slicing at every angle. My muscles are burning. I don't get in one hit. How is he doing this? I need to try something else. I kick at the dirt, and Hickory raises his hands as dust flies into his face. Boos sound from the kobold section, but I'm not going in for a cheap shot. While his eyes are closed, I dart behind a pillar, catching my breath as I observe him. Then I notice it, the slight twitching of his ears, listening for the sound of me. That's it. With every shift of my foot across the ground, his sensitive hearing keeps him aware of my movements, making up for his blind spot. Almost. Seeing a cluster of pebbles at my feet, I kick hard again. They scatter, sending a ripple of clattering sounds in all directions. Hickory startles, frantically following the sounds, searching for the one that ties back to me. I release my wings and silently leap into the air, diving to his blind side. Using the blunt end of my hilt, I strike forcefully on the back of his weapon hand. Hickory cries out as his axe clatters to the ground, leaving him defenseless. Kobolds stand to their feet with shouts as I grab Hickory by the scruff of the neck, the point of my sword pushing threateningly into his side. Hickory seems more concerned with the hand that he's cradling to his chest. His fingers are swelling, one of them bent at an odd angle, and I realize I've injured his sketching hand, which to him is probably 10 times worse than what I'm about to say. "Do you surrender?" I ask, breathing hard.
"Yes,"
Hickory chokes out.
"I surrender."
I release him and he falls to his knees, gasping.
"The Gwyllions advance again!"
my father announces. Murmurs in the stands increase. Some of my folk lean forward, watching as the gold kobold flag is taken off the scoreboard and our red flag is raised to a higher notch. Hickory walks off to attend to his hand, but glances back for a moment. I look away, pressing down the guilt rushing to the surface. If needed, Alice can heal his hand as good as new, though I'm not sure any amount of her power will be able to heal our friendship. My chest heaves, fatigue setting in as Aaron takes Hickory's place. 2 down, 2 to go. As I approach him, pain and anger rises with every step. I channel it into what I have to do next. Aaron is my last obstacle before Vale. Then I can finally lose. Gaius will be safe, and this will all be over.
"I'm glad to see you're okay,"
Aaron whispers. His hand is on the sword sheathed at his side, but his eyes tell me he doesn't want to fight. Not like this.
"When you ran off last night, I was worried you'd—"
Save it. I take my stance. I've heard enough from you.
"Competitors ready?"
my father calls, giving Aaron one last chance to prepare his weapon. Aaron hesitates, looking back at his own father. Lord Kaito gives him a stern nod. Aaron's sword scrapes against its sheath as he slowly unveils a sea glass-crafted blade. The nymph lord beams. His smile is fleeting, however, as Aaron lets the blade slip from his fingers and it clatters to the stone.
"Aaron!"
Kaito growls as the nymphs explode into a chattering frenzy. His son is already lowering to the ground. No. I whip out my blade and catch the point right below his chin. He lifts his hands, mid-kneel. "What are you doing?" I demand.
"I won't fight you, Quinn,"
he whispers. I grit my teeth. Yes, you will. I catch the curious eyes of the Queen and my father. It would be so much easier to let him do this, to accept his gesture and move on. But whatever he thinks he's doing won't erase what he's done. Whether he feels sorry or not, I won't let him just give me the win. He doesn't get off that easy. Stepping back, I nod to his weapon. He reaches for it slowly, watching me all the while. If what you claimed last night is true, then you will do this, I say, challenging the feelings he declared. If he knows me at all, then he knows that I'll never accept a pity win. No holding back. Without any more hesitation, I launch myself high into the air and hurtle downward with a warrior's cry. Grasping his sword, Aaron parries and sidesteps with ease, his movements as smooth and fluid as water. I strike again. He pushes against my blade, sending me flapping back. Releasing his own fin-like wings, he meets me in the air, swinging again and again, though not as hard as I know he can. He doesn't want to hurt me any more than he already has. This only makes me angrier. He still thinks I'm some helpless pixie who needs his aid. I'll show him. I advance, pressing Aaron higher into the air. I attack with more fervor, telling myself every blow is retaliation for Gaius, for taking part in staging his death, for every time in the last 5 weeks that Aaron could have told me the truth, but didn't. He takes the brunt of every hit, groaning with the effort. The air is thinner up here among the clouds, and I can hear the struggle in his breaths. But he's not giving up, and I don't have much energy left. Changing tactics, I swing outward against Aaron's blade. His arm flails, and I only have a second to seize the opening I've created. Tightening both hands on my sword, I bring the hilt down on Aaron's shoulder as hard as I can. Thud. My strike sends him straight to the ground, colliding with a boulder. With the wind knocked out of him, Aaron lets go of his weapon, gasping. His team releases their wings, ready to charge the field and help him once this is over. Aaron holds up a hand to them. Slowly, he rolls onto his chest and kneels before me.
"Can I surrender now?"
He manages, coughing up blood. As he looks up at me, I steel myself for his expression. I expect to see betrayal raging in his ocean eyes like a storm, hate for me surely swirling inside. Instead, they're soft with remorse, as if I've given him a punishment he justly deserved, and he received it gladly. My stomach twists with the temptation to drop to my knees and forgive him right there, to ask him for forgiveness myself. But the image of Gaius half dead in some cellar steals it away. Forgiveness is just another sign of weakness. I turn to my father so I can't stare into Aaron's ocean eyes anymore. I lift my sword in victory, though I feel anything but victorious.
"Lady Quintessa advances to the final round,"
my father's voice thunders. This time, I think I hear bits of scattered applause. Most of my folk are still silent, but many of them are standing, looking from me to the scoreboard. A sylph noble nervously rubs his hands together as he and his clan watch the Gwyllion flag rise to meet their purple one at the top, while the blue nymph flag is cast to the side. Many nymphs shake their heads, and I catch one fainting from the shock. Even with my Gwyllion background and reputation as Captain Shade, it seems few want to believe I could actually become their queen.
"Since this is the final battle,"
my father continues,
"she'll be allowed 5 minutes to ready herself before facing Princess Vale."
I let my muscles relax, resisting the temptation to collapse. Sheathing my sword to avoid dragging it along the ground, I stagger to my attendants. My father flies toward us. I narrow my eyes at him as an attendant brings a chalice of water to my lips. "Why have you done this?" I gasp. "You had complete control over how the trial would run. You could have given me more of an advantage. I thought you wanted me to win."
"I'm still confident you will,"
he says, then leans closer.
"If you are to win, our clan needs to see your skill, your determination, and your strength."
He looks up to the stands, satisfaction on his face.
"And now they see it."
A soft rumble comes from the stands where my clan resides. Gwyllions are not the cheering kind, but they are warriors. They pound their feet on the stone steps, just as they did for Gaius all those years ago during the Gwyllion Guard tryouts. It starts out slow and quiet, then grows into a thundering roar as they chant, "Quinn, Quinn, Quinn, Quinn." My clansfolk are chanting my name. The ultimate sign that I'm not only accepted back into the clan, they truly want me to win. To rule. A surge of emotion hits me like a crashing wave at sea. All this time, I didn't think I wanted their approval or their acceptance. Now that I have it, the pain of knowing that I'll soon lose it forever feels like it's crushing me under its powerful current. If only they knew what was on the line. "Father, I must tell you something." I grab at his robe. Even if he thinks I'm crazy, this is my last chance to tell him the truth. To warn him. He gives my hand a squeeze.
"We'll have time to talk when you win."
"But, Lord Faden, I think you've given your daughter quite enough of a reprieve." The Queen is at our side, towering over us. Her eyes bore into me, daring me to reveal her. Daring me with my brother's life. "We wouldn't want all of Phelan to think you're giving Quinn an unfair advantage, now would we?" My father hesitates. He searches my face for what I was about to tell him. "No, I can't risk it. For all I know, it would take a snap of the Queen's fingers for one of her lackeys to snap Gaius's neck. I pull myself together and give my father a firm nod before I brush past him to meet Vale on the field. She has the nerve to smile. "Funny seeing you here," she says lightheartedly. To her, everything seems to be going according to plan. She still thinks we've agreed to fight fair. Maybe the fact that no one has died yet has kept her at ease. Catching my scowl, she stops. "You all right?" I grunt in response as I unsheath my sword, though I might as well just throw it down right now. "Okay," Vale says slowly. "Do your worst. I'm ready." I nod, and Phaedon quiets the crowd.
This final duel will decide the next queen of Phelan. Will it be Vale of the Sylphs?
The Sylphs cheer.
Or Quintessa of the Gwyllions?
The Gwyllions stomp their feet again.
The same rules apply,
he reminds us.
The first to surrender or die loses.
His gaze lingers on me meaningfully, and I force my features not to falter. All I have to do is put on a good show, let Vale beat me up a bit, and surrender. As exhausted as I am, it shouldn't be too hard. The gong sounds, and I remind myself that Gaius's life will be worth the humiliation. Vale advances with forceful strikes and skilled footwork. She's truly a warrior now. Still, I know her favored moves by heart. I block her first few strikes, then let her get in a few slashes on my arm and side. I hiss through the sting. Though my supposed mishaps might be faked, the pain is real. I hope that's enough for the crowd. The murmurs begin. My father isn't falling for my act, his brows knit together as he furiously twists one of the rings around his finger. Vale isn't falling for it either. "What's wrong with you?" she whispers sharply as our swords collide. "You're not even trying." "The student has surpassed the master," I snarl back. "You should be happy." "No!" Her tone is vicious. "You know the win means nothing to me unless I win it fairly. You promised." "You keep forgetting, Vale," I spit, pushing her hard so she falters back. "I'm a pirate." "No," she sneers venomously. "You're a coward." My whole body shakes. It feels as if the ground beneath me is trembling too. I rush at her. "There's the warrior I know." She narrows her eyes, bracing herself. Her smile fades as I leap into the air and come down on her blade with all my strength. Sparks fly. "Careful!" "I've had enough," I yell and swing at her again. "Enough of this competition." Another swing. "Enough of your lying mother." Metal clashes. "And enough of you!" Another blow knocks her to the ground. Her sword escapes her grip, skidding away on the stone floor. I'm too angry to stop now. I'm no longer in control. Rage is. I raise my sword high above her, ready to strike a final blow.
"Quinn, wait!"
Aaron, Alice, and Hickory are rushing the field. What are they doing? I look down at Vale's frightened form. It isn't just my body that's trembling. Pebbles dance on the arena floor around her. They aren't coming to stop me. They're trying to warn me. Screams ring out at the violent tremors as cracks form beneath my feet. A tremble in the land will quake. I look at Aaron. Our eyes lock just before the ground gives way, and I disappear under its surface. Chapter 6.
Will she be all right?
I hear a deep, raspy voice ask. Her wing is pretty damaged, comes a much lighter tone. She'll need to rest.
Rest? For how long? We don't have time for this.
Give her some time, Pilo. My head throbs as I try to place the voices hovering around me. Dampness coats my back. Where am I? My eyes blink open. At first, I think I'm looking at a darkened sky, devoid of moons and stars. As my vision sharpens, I realize that I'm staring up at the towering stone ceiling of a cave. The last thing I remember is falling through the arena floor. I must be underground, deep in the mouth of the extinct volcano. But there aren't any cracks in the ceiling that I can see. I shift to get a better look, then cry out as a sharp pain radiates through my right shoulder blade.
I told you this was a mistake,
the deep voice says from somewhere in the room. The kind face of an elderly pixie appears above me, her dragon-like wings draped down her back. My first thought is that my clan must have found me, but this fairy is smiling from ear to ear. Strange. Gwyllions barely ever smile. Oh, hush, Pilo. She scolds the other voice before turning back to me. Her gentle eyes wrinkle at the corners as she brings a cool cloth to my forehead. Just hold still, dear. You've injured one of your wings. I'm setting it for you. Shouldn't be long. She shifts to tend to my mangled wings spread out on the ground. I grimace, focusing on her face so I don't have to watch. What happened? Who are you? Her wrinkles crease further with a chuckle. Oh, you must excuse my manners. It's been a long time since we've had guests. My name is Lyra, and my very impatient husband over there is Pilo. Another elderly Gwyllion with a fur cloak and long white beard leans on a twisted staff close by. He nods to me, warily taking in my presence. You fell a long way down after the, earthquake, Lyra says, glancing again at Pilo. Some debris hit your wing pretty hard, I reckon. We were able to slow your fall, minimizing any further damage. Slow my fall? I don't understand. Why don't you come join your friends and we'll explain everything? My friends? I ask as Lyra helps me to my feet. A small fire flickers at the other end of the large cavern. She gently guides me by the hand, but I halt when we're a few feet away. I'm not the only one who fell from above. Vale, Aaron, Hickory, and Alice huddle around the fire with fur blankets, silently staring into the flames. They're not my friends, I say quietly. Though I'm relieved they're all right, I'm in no hurry to face them. Vale catches sight of me and stands. Too late. What was your problem up there? She lashes out as I approach. First, you don't even try, and then you come after me like you're the one who has the right to be angry. I thought... She stops, whispering sharply. I thought we had a deal. What deal? Hickory's blanket falls to the floor as he stands. Is that why you were so intense during the trial? He folds his arms, and I notice the bandage wrapped around his injured hand. Pushing down the guilt rushing up again, I thrust a finger at him. You don't get to talk to me. I whip to Vale. And neither do you. They both draw back. Hickory's eyebrows furrow. What's wrong with you? You seemed fine last night at the pub. Where did you disappear to after...
She was with me.
Behind them, Aaron remains seated at the fire. His worried gaze is trained on my injured wing, his ocean eyes heavy with remorse. You. Hickory takes a threatening step toward him. I swear, if you've been using that silver tongue of yours to mess with her head like you did with Vale... Hickory! Vale scolds. Aaron's muscles tighten as he stands, fists clenched like he might punch him. How dare you! I would never! How do you even know about my... At least he told me the truth, Hickory. I cut in. Something you should have told me a long time ago. Both of you. I add to Vale. Hickory and Vale grow quiet, studying me as if trying to guess exactly what I know. In the silence, Alice draws closer, inspecting my wing. I see the cuts in her clothes and the dried blood from our fight. Out of all of them, Alice deserved what I did to her the least. I'm about to apologize when she touches my arm, her healing energy surging through me. One of the bones in my wing painfully snaps back into place. Alice, stop, I yelp, pulling away. I don't deserve her kindness. Wait, did Alice just... Vale inspects the healed bone in awe. I sigh. Though we've all been working together for a common cause, we've also been keeping so many secrets. None of us have trusted one another as much as we thought.
She's not the only one with a gift.
The elderly puck called Pilo hobbles to the fire.
If you're quite finished with your petty arguments, we must tell you why we brought you here.
You brought us here? Aaron lifts a brow, looking up and down the fairy's aged form. Hickory's eyes widen with astonishment. Did you cause the earthquake? Leaning on his walking stick, Pilo nods solemnly. Hickory stares at the staff. There, engraved near the top, is the pneumanic symbol. Hickory looks at me, then at Pilo. Then you must be— forgive me, sir, but are you a mystic? Pilo nods again. Hickory looks like he's about to jump out of his skin, a million questions itching at his bobbing throat. I'm not convinced yet. Prove it. Without breaking my gaze, Pilo snaps his fingers and the fire goes out. Darkness swallows us. Then a roaring ball of flame appears, hovering over his hand. I gape. The mystics are supposed to be extinct, yet here's one standing right in front of me. All right, enough showing off, Lyra scolds. She snatches the fireball from him and throws it back to the woodpile, igniting the logs again. Okay, make that 2 mystics. I gawk. I can't believe this. All this time, I haven't been alone. Lyra helps Pilo sit on one of the rocks around the fire as the flames flicker red and orange, lighting up the high walls. We're sorry for the way we had to get you down here, she says. We've had no other opportunity to get all of you alone.
Even now we don't have much time, Pilo adds. There's much to tell you before the clans tunnel their way down here to find you.
He motions for us to sit. Hickory obeys expectantly as Alice and Vale more tentatively take spots around the fire. As I move to follow, Aaron gently wraps his fingers around my arm. Are you sure we can trust them? He whispers near my ear. I don't know who to trust anymore, I say, giving him a heavy stare. His eyes drop as he lets go. Reluctantly, my voice softens. Right now, we have no idea where we are or how to get back to the surface. We can at least hear them out.
I promise, we're not the ones you should fear,
Pilo says, as if he knows what we're saying. I take a seat. Aaron stays standing, slowly pacing behind us.
There are a few left of our kind. We've been keeping a close eye on all of you throughout the Aethodine, helping you along the way when we could. Helping us? Hickory tilts his head as I recall the torches igniting on their own during the trial of life. The hooded figure in the Mystic Temple? I ask. You mean the one that trapped us in that awful room? Vale balks. Lyra bites her lip. Technically, he led you to the plant you needed. My eyes dart to Pilo. He's staring back at me intently. Wait. Could he also be the hooded figure that Aaron and I encountered in Shree? I try to remember the voice that spoke into my mind about the prophecy. His touch was the first time I saw the flashes that would become my nightmares. And he knew about my brother. If you want to learn what really happened to him, you will follow me, he'd said. He wasn't trying to attack us that day. He was trying to help. If only I hadn't nearly choked him to death before he disappeared. Maybe I would have learned of my brother's fate before it was too late. The puzzle in the temple was meant to see if you could be brought together for a single purpose, Lyra continues. While the Aethodine was designed to keep you on opposing sides, we sought to show how you could help one another. We all exchanged glances. At the time, it had done that much. Why bring us together? Alice signs to me with curious eyes, and I relay her question. It's the same one I have myself. Pilo stares into the flames. As you may have guessed already, the competition is not what it seems, and neither is the Queen. In fact, much of what Phalenians believe about their history has been twisted, especially about the Pneuma.
Vale perks up at the mention of our history as Hickory claps his hands on his thighs.
So they are real. I knew it. Oh, the Numa are real, all right. But they're not evil as you've been led to believe. At least, not inherently.
Pilo reaches out to the fire again, and with the flick of his wrist, the flames form into shapes and figures. I lean in, mesmerized by his effortless control over the unruly element, the masterful way he uses it to create, rather than destroy. Even Aaron draws closer as the fire shifts, depicting what Pilo describes.
Like Fae, he begins, the Numa have a propensity for good and evil. And though they are wingless with dully shaped ears, they look much like us. In a way, they're our ancestors, our creators, though their true name was lost to most long ago.
Our ancestors? Our creators? Looking at the less ferocious images of the Numa in the flames, I have so many questions. What's their true name? Pilo's eyes flick to mine.
Human,
he says. Human? I try out the word on my tongue.
Long before Phelan existed, the humans dreamed.
The flames bend to his will again, causing the faces of the fiery figures to glow brighter.
They had visions while sleeping and awake, always filled with hope, wonder, and possibility. These dreams were powerful, so powerful, they collided in the finite space between sleep and awake, a realm we have since called the Chasm.
Lyra reaches out to the pit next, moving her hands in a circular rhythm. Over time, the collision of dreams formed a kind of seed. Sparks fly and then settle, leaving a single sphere of rolling flames hovering over simmering coals. A seed! Hickory's whisper turns into an elated shout. Are you saying that the seed that birthed our world came from pneumanic dreams? Hickory, hush, Vale says sharply. Of course that's not what she's saying. She turns to Lyra. Is it? Lyra smiles as the flaming ball opens into a developing scene of Phelan's terrain, answering Vale's question. Dream power fell like rain from our moons, watering the seed. Eventually, that seed birthed the sacred vine and all that we see around us. What's been stripped from history, however, is the true reason why the rain stopped. Stripped from history? Vale folds her arms, obviously not a fan of someone suggesting there's something her folk don't know. Lyra nods. Phelan was not always a land of deficiency and conflict. It was once a place of peace and harmony. The moon rain sustained a flourishing world filled with more magic than we know today. Out of the flaming land before us, winged fae flit about, casting sparks of magic. My fingers twitch as if wanting to join in on the display, curious to see if the fire would bend to my desires too. I sit on my hands. Even if I wanted to, the ever-sustaining chill still coursing through my body reminds me that it's no longer possible. At the time, every clan displayed mystical gifts that were powered by the moonstones. Lyra continues. They eventually inspired each etho. The Fae used these gifts to serve our world. Even during the first drought, the clans worked together to find the cause. Fae of all kinds shoot out of the pit and dart toward us. A dragon-winged pixie flies around my head, frantic in her search. I put out a finger to her. She shoots her fire at it threateningly, but the flames sizzle out against my cold skin. I sigh. Aaron is too busy swatting them away to notice, while Alice holds out her palm to one who curiously hovers over it. Well, obviously they were unsuccessful, Vale says shortly, examining the cluster of pixies clouded around Hickory's awe-filled face.
Not exactly.
Pilo closes his hand. The fairies look up sharply and return to the flames at once.
This was when we found the bridge to the human world.
Both Lyra and Pylo lift their hands, and two large spheres take form which are connected by a spiraling thread of fire.
Yes, the bridge! It's like a portal, right?
Hickory's good eye lights with excitement as I recall the drawings on his wall. The space between the two worlds. Lyra nods. At the time, representatives from each clan crossed the bridge, entering the unknown world to study the humans, keeping our wings hidden, of course. She pulls her weathered dragon wings into the bones in her back. With her disarming smile and pointed ears hidden under her curly gray hair, I can only imagine the unaware humans welcoming her into their world with open arms.
Soon we learned that we could sense their dreams.
Pylo's voice sinks low with warning.
Dreams that had grown dark and cold in that ever-corrupting world.
That's when we discovered that our magic helped them, Lyra adds, her face brightening. From fueling and impassioning their dreams, she looks at Aaron, then to Alice, to even bringing dead ambitions back to life. Aaron's eyebrows lift, his lips parting. Is Lyra saying Aaron's silver tongue could be a good thing? Something touches my arm and I turn to Alice, her bare hand on my skin. Her eyes search mine. Remember when I used my gift to enter your memories? Do you think that it could be similar to how the fairies affected the dreams of the humans? I finish her thought. Maybe. Lyra continues. It was after we began helping the humans that the moon rain returned to Phelan. Quite by accident, we discovered our true purpose, to be the guardians of human dreams, especially the most innocent and powerful ones, belonging to the youngest of their offspring. The youthful, wingless figures in the fire dance around as Fae bestow their gifts upon them. I sit back. There's so much to take in. Could all of this be true?
The clan lords then commissioned us to do 3 things.
Pylo snaps his fingers as a circle of tall, winged fae form in the fiery scene.
The first, to control access to the bridge. Thus, we forged the key, a magical item that could open and close the bridge at will.
Pylo lifts one finger, and a long item with a pointed end rises out of the flames. If it's meant to be the key, it's the strangest shaped key I've ever seen. It looks more like a staff.
The second was to chronicle our experiences in the human world, which we called the Neverworld, and the magical ways of our gifts.
He lifts a second finger, and a rectangular shape appears next to the first.
So we recorded all of our secrets in the ancient book you found in Eldor.
We turn to Hickory at once. How are we going to tell the mystics we lost their book? Pylo reaches into his fur cloak.
Thank you for this, by the way.
He pulls out the very text we'd lost. My jaw drops as Vale's mouth closes tightly, eyes wide. She nervously clasps her hands together, her gaze going from the book to Pylo's face. You really have been following us all this time, she says in a breathy tone. Hickory eyes her, vindicated.
I told you I didn't lose it.
A hint of a smile plays along Lyra's face.
We wrote the book in a language we created, so the information couldn't easily fall into the wrong hands. Although it seems like someone was smart enough to learn it.
She gives Vale an impressed smile. Despite her skepticism, Vale lowers her face, hiding a soft blush. Pylo clears his throat, grabbing our attention again, and holds up a third finger.
Our third task was to raise a group of guardians we called the Travelers.
A force of flamed fairies rise in formation, standing at attention before Pylo, who sits a little taller under their gaze.
Only the Travelers could enter the Neverworld, and the clan representatives who first traveled to the Neverworld were assigned to be their teachers, the Mystics.
Wait, you mean Mystics weren't just Gwyllions? Hickory says hurriedly, hope brimming in his eyes.
There were originally Mystics from every clan.
Pylo scans each of our faces.
But we weren't the only Fae gifted with abilities like healing, persuasion, knowledge, visions, and fire.
Pylo's gaze stops on me. My stomach drops. He knows what I am. Although, is he saying that I'm not the only one?
We were simply the ones who trained the travelers in how to minister to the humans. Every year, the mystics chose a new group of younglings to join their ranks.
So, what happened to them? Aaron still keeps his distance, though his unblinking eyes tell me he's intrigued. Pylo closes his eyes, bracing himself for the next part.
While our gifts are ultimately meant for good, they also have a darker side.
Pylo stares deeply into the flames, and the fire dims to almost nothing. Aaron looks around at the enclosing darkness as a chill falls over the cavern. Vale tugs one of the blankets tighter around her shoulders. Alice shivers, drawing closer to the embers in the sea of darkness.
The mystics did everything they could to keep the travelers from discovering this. But one traveler stumbled upon the truth and violently turned against our cause.
A shadow casts over Pylo's face.
He only saw the flaws of the humans, claimed that we'd become slaves to them. He wanted to use the dark parts of our abilities to turn the tide and make them slaves to us instead.
Without warning, crackling flames shoot into the air, taking the form of a gruesome, laughing face. It reaches out to us with wild, flickering fingers. I inch away from their reach and from the sudden heat against my skin. Pylo stirs the fire with a wave of his hand, and the flames settle.
We banished him and stripped him of his traveler status, cutting him off from the Neverworld. But he wouldn't be easily stopped. Gathering a flock of followers, he used dark magic to strengthen them and incite contention between the clans. The unity of the clans weakened. They began to question us, pushing for war. We called all travelers back from the Neverworld to help keep the peace, but...
His voice breaks at the end. Lyra places a hand on his shoulder and sighs.
When the travelers returned, they were attacked by the Dark Traveler's army,
she says softly, her cheerful demeanor fading for the first time.
With the clans distracted by their own feuds, the travelers and most of our mystic brethren were killed.
We all go still. Pylo's eyes are vacant and far off. The fist around his staff tightens as tears glisten in his eyes, reflecting off the flickering flames. A knot forms in my chest, imagining what it must have been like to see all their friends slaughtered before them. But I lean in tentatively, knowing there must be more to the story. Some of you survived. Hurried steps enter the cavern from the shadows, and we turn to find another cloaked figure. She lifts her hood to reveal a pixie not much younger than Pylo or Lyra, a flame flickering in her palm. Just how many of them are left?
Sorry to interrupt, says the pixie sternly. A tunneler has been detected not far from here. We think the clan lords have sent a search party for the heirs.
She eyes us warily.
Thank you, Kenna.
Lyra stands, and the fire quenches to smoldering coals at the wave of her hand.
We'll have to continue this on the way.
Pylo motions for us to follow with his staff.
We'll guide you to the surface. There is more you should know about the dangers that await you above.
Chapter 7.
This way. Keep up,
Kenna says gruffly. As we follow her down dark passages that appear to be ancient lava tubes, the three mystics lead the way with their flaming hands. The tunnel is narrow, so we walk pressed together. Our soft footsteps and unseen scuttling creatures are the only sounds in the dark. Aaron keeps in step with me as Vale, Hickory, and Alice walk ahead.
What do you think Pylo meant by dangers above?
Hickory whispers to us.
I don't know. It seems dangerous enough already down here.
Aaron warily peers up at sharply pointed stalactites hanging from the ceiling. They tremble slightly as the sound of a tunneler boring through rock rumbles somewhere in the distance. "Why aren't they just bringing us to the tunneler?" Vale asks softly. "That would get us back to the surface a lot faster than this." "They can't be seen by the clans, especially the Gwyllions," I say, not wanting to imagine what my folk would do if they knew that there were mystics still around. Never mind traveling through tunnels right under their city. "They said that they're bringing us to the surface, so don't worry." "I'm still surprised that you're trusting them so easily." Aaron raises a brow at me. "I mean, even I'm starting to believe their story, but it just doesn't seem like you would." I hesitate. I'm not exactly ready to tell him that it's because I have the same ability as the mystics to call fire from my hands. Had the same ability. My shoulders slump. Thankfully, Hickory answers him before I have the chance. "What reason do they have to lie?" he says, still looking admiringly after them. "Hey, do you think our parents have any idea about all this?"
"No one else knows. The Dark Traveler made sure of that."
Lyra speaks up from the front. Obviously, we haven't been as quiet as we thought.
"You see, when he attacked, the Gwyllion mystics were the strongest warriors and fought the hardest. Even we were nearly defeated."
My brows raise. The Dark Traveler must have had a powerful advantage to stand against the likes of my folk. "But you weren't defeated," I press again, eager to hear of some last-minute victory. "Of course we weren't." Kenna's scoff echoes through the cavern. She sounds the most like the Gwyllions who I'm used to out of the three of them. Lyra turns around sharply, and our party halts.
"We survived, yes, to our shame."
She eyes Kenna, who lowers her head.
"Instead of fighting until the end, we fled here to our mountains."
The ache of her admission is evident in every crease of her face. Though she might be a mystic, the Gwyllion hate of weakness still runs deep. It's then that I realize we've stopped at what appears to be a dead end. Vale crosses her arms. "This looks promising." Kenna huffs, muttering something under her breath. She steps up to the wall and places her hand firmly on the limestone. The spaces between her splayed fingers glow red with heat. The wall rumbles and shifts open. She turns back to Vale and smirks. "You were saying?" My eyes grow wide. The opening reveals yet another dark tunnel, only this one slopes upward. I look at Aaron. "I told you." Digging his staff into craggy divots in the ground, Pilo hobbles forward as we tentatively follow.
"Though we'd failed, our hope was to preserve the mystic way and someday rise again. When we returned to our mountains, however, we found that our chronicle of the Numa and their world had been stolen."
He pulls the ancient tome he's been carrying under his arm tighter to his side.
"Our key to the Neverworld was gone too,"
Lyra adds.
"I bet it was the Dark Traveler."
Hickory bumps Alice's arm, and she nods in agreement.
"Yes."
Pilo's voice grumbles low at the mention of the name.
"We knew that he had everything needed to cast the curse that he always threatened to enact."
"A curse?"
Vale looks up from examining a stalagmite rising up from the ground.
"What kind of curse?"
"One that could skew Fey history to favor his purposes,"
Pilo says, huffing with the upward effort.
"The humans would be remembered as vicious giants of pure evil. The clan war would become the war against the Numa, and the Dark Traveler would be remembered as our miraculous savior. As the undisputed king, he would use his power to control the clans and enslave the humans."
Pilo picks up his pace, and Vale scurries after him.
"But it was the Sylph King who saved us from the Numa,"
she insists as I picture the triumphant ruler depicted in Eldor's murals.
"Ha!"
Kenna laughs bitterly. "You younglings really don't know anything, do you? The only way that blithering idiot of a sylph became king was because Pilo was smart enough to cast a counter-curse."
"Kenna, please."
Pilo halts to silence her. Still, his chest seems to inflate at the compliment before quickly deflating.
Though it wasn't enough to cancel the curse entirely, it was the best I could come up with without the help of our missing tome.
Lyra puts a comforting hand on her husband's shoulder.
We had hoped changing Phelan's savior would buy us some time to fully reverse the curse.
Pylo shakes his head.
Without the travelers and our ability to re-enter the Neverworld, we've had no way to minister to the humans. They seem to have lost their way again, their dreams corrupted.
That's why the moon rain droughts have returned. Hickory nods in understanding.
Not only that, it's the reason for our dwindling resources. And even the plague, too,
Kenna adds.
If not remedied, things will only grow worse.
Pylo's lips purse.
Thus far, it seems that the sacred vine that ties our world together has been fighting to stay alive.
Lyra stares deeply into our faces.
In fact, we believe that it has connected you five in some way, perhaps drawing your gifts to the surface, bringing you together for this very moment.
She places a hand on the vine-like tattoos on Alice's arm and looks at the spot where the pneumanic tattoo resides. I think I see a spark of hope in Pylo's eyes, but it dims as quickly as a doused flame.
If nothing is done,
he says gravely,
the vine will fall, and Phelan will crumble.
Just like Lord Torlon said, Aaron says. And like you've seen in your nightmares, Alice signs to me. Right, I say to her. And Hickory's painting. He nods gravely.
Wait, if all of Phelan's memories were changed, how come you remember?
Vale accuses. Not only has Pylo threatened her impeccable knowledge, but also her clan's right to the throne.
Part of the counter curse included a protection spell that I was able to use over the remaining mystics,
Pylo explains, leaning heavily on his staff.
Not that it did much good. After the curse was cast, we awoke to a world that we no longer recognized, and that no longer recognized us.
Lyra sighs.
When we tried to tell them the truth, we were rejected as worshippers of the Pneuma, superstitious fanatics. Our own Gwyllion brethren cast us out, banishing us into the mountain peaks.
I shake my head and look at Vale. Her eyebrows are knit together with concern and confusion. If this is true, then our world has been so wrong about them. They rejected the one group who could save us all. If only my folk had listened. What happened to this dark traveler figure? Aaron asks. Yes, Hickory nods emphatically. Where's he now?
Curses always come with a price. He didn't realize that this curse would cost him his life, and he was never seen again. His minions disbanded, but in recent years some seem to have taken up his mantle and mission. Through a series of spies, we discovered that the Queen herself found our text and was in search of the original key. With both, she planned to enslave the humans and bring the rest of Phelan to their knees. For good.
And I was helping her, Vale whispers, her face paling as she puts the pieces together. I thought it was odd how desperate she was for me to translate the tome. I wondered what she was up to. I never imagined this. Alice places a gloved hand on Vale's arm as she starts to tremble. Lyra takes off her cloak and wraps it around Vale's shoulders.
We tried to find out more through a series of spies. Only one was successful, at least in part. He found the original key and was able to steal it before the Queen could use it for herself. When he was unable to get it back to us, he passed through the bridge, taking the key with him so no one could follow into the Neverworld. Not even us.
That's the real reason why the Queen agreed to resurrect the Ethodine,
Pylo says.
To get her hands on the pieces necessary to create a new key. From decoding the tome's pages, I believe that you already know what those elements are.
Vale quietly recites the prophecy. Stone and dust they must combine, with every royal clan bloodline. Wait! Hickory cuts in.
Stone.
Like moonstone?
Yes,
Pilo encourages.
the same 3 elements that we used to create the first key are needed again. The moonstones, pixie dust, and blood from each clan's royal family.
You see, it's been quite impossible for anyone to construct a new key because of the clan divisions. But now,
Lyra peers at all of us.
the Queen has brought all the pieces together, just within her reach.
Just in time for the moon harvest. Hickory purses his lips. Of course. It all makes sense now. Kenna nods.
She's also secured all the pixie dust she'll need for the ritual.
Aaron looks at me and mouths one word. Jasper. We saw him with a train full of pixie dust. But he had said that shipment wasn't for the Queen, didn't he? Vale pulls the cloak tighter as Lyra peers over at her.
If you win the Ethodyne, my dear, then the Queen will not only retain her control of Phelan through you, she'll also acquire the moonstones and the clan blood from the oath you've all promised to make.
Pilo turns to the rest of us.
I wish we had time to teach you more about your gifts, what you're truly capable of. For now, you must use what you have to make sure that the Queen doesn't get hold of those elements. She mustn't create the new key and enter the Neverworld, at any cost.
Well, that settles it, Aaron says firmly. Sorry, Vale, but Quinn has to win this last trial. We can't let those items fall into your mother's hands. No. My head whirls as I stand. I can't do that. Not with Gaius's life on the line.
Why not?
Hickory asks. I exhale. Because if Vale doesn't win, the Queen will kill my brother. Hickory blinks.
Quinn, are you sure you're all right?
He asks hesitantly.
Gaius is already dead, remember?
According to those two, he's not. I point at Aaron and Vale.
What?
Hickory stares at them in genuine shock. If he suspected Aaron's involvement in Gaius's death, then he obviously had no idea that my brother might still be alive. Vale spins to Aaron, refusing to meet my eyes.
You told her?
I had to, he says. She deserved to know. None of that matters now. I slump against the tunnel wall, my head in my hands. I should have known already. Gaius, he's been in the nightmares I told you about, maybe trying to tell me the truth this whole time. I didn't think it was important until I found out that he's alive. My voice cracks, the words dying on my lips. Aaron moves toward me. Quinn, I know you don't have any reason to trust me, but we'll figure something out. If we can stop her, then we'll make her hand over Gaius. That's a pretty big if, I say. How in Phelan are we supposed to do that? What if we create the key ourselves? Aaron offers. I shake my head. We still need the moonstones and tons of pixie dust. We could try telling the clan leaders the truth, Hickory says. Maybe they can stop her. Do you really think they'd believe us? Alice signs. Alice is right. They didn't believe the mystics before, and they won't believe us now. I barely believe it myself. I wave away the idea. If the Queen wasn't holding Gaius hostage, then I'd say we could just stay in hiding until after the moon harvest. She can't create the key without us. I groan and turn to Vale. Are you sure you don't know where she's keeping him? If we knew, then we could just march in there and steal him back. Even if I knew, she'd see that coming a mile away. She's always prepared for every possibility. Vale stops and stares ahead where a small bit of light from the surface is breaking through at the end of the tunnel. There's only one thing she won't see coming. Only one way that's sure to stop her plans. Oh yeah? What's that? I cross my arms, already preparing to shoot her proposal down. I have an idea. Each of us would have to play a part. Her eyes scan over the others and settle on me. And you might not like yours. I'm about to argue again, but as I look at her, I see Wit staring back at me. I'm doing what I've always done, what Wit always resented me for, what led to her betrayal, thinking that I know best, refusing to listen or let anyone in. I have a choice. I can fight Veil, or I can choose to accept her help, to dare to trust her, to trust all of them. Can I put my brother's life in their hands? My own life? Veil knows her mother better than any of us, and the others are looking at me as if they're ready to follow me into battle, wherever that might lead. I unclench my tightened fists and take a step toward Veil, letting out a belabored breath. Try me. Chapter 8.
There they are!
A Gwyllion soldier calls out as the 5 of us stagger back into the stadium, covered in bruises and dirt. The clan leaders fly to us in a flurry. My father reaches me first.
Are you all right?
He extends a hand to examine my battered wing, then stops short, as if not sure how to proceed.
We haven't had an earthquake in quite some time. We were worried that the competition might be finished.
Oh, my darling! The Queen darts to Veil, cupping her face in her hands, examining every inch of her. We flew after you when you fell, but debris shifted over the opening too quickly. Lord Zephin puts a hand on Hickory's shoulder.
We sent a tunneler to retrieve you. It seems you managed just fine on your own.
Zephin gives him an impressed smile. The 5 of us glance at each other, keeping quiet about the details. All that the mystics had told us still swirls in my head. They brought us to the surface like they promised, then quickly disappeared back into the shadows once we were safe. In preparation for your return, the clan leaders agreed that you'd all receive treatment for any wounds and 1 night to recuperate, the Queen says, clutching Veil to her side. Tomorrow, Veil and Quinn will have a rematch. Veil eyes me, giving me a subtle nod. We have a plan. Now we just have to hope it works. As we're guided into the city, I chew my lip. I can't help picturing all the ways that things could still go terribly wrong. If we don't play things right, there's still a chance the Queen could get all she wants and I could lose my brother forever. But Veil is right. Out of all our options, her plan is our best shot. We have to at least try. Overnight, the news about the sudden earthquake that almost put an end to all the clan heirs spreads throughout Phelan like wildfire. By morning, the Gwyllion port is past capacity with even more ferry ships arriving for the final duel than the day before. With the destruction of the stadium, my father moves the trial to a valley where the clans can watch from the surrounding mountain peaks above. As we arrive, the rocky slopes are already packed with Fae, though the usual clan boundaries are forced to blend together. I walk out to meet Veil, still nursing some pain in my right wing. I never got the chance to find Alice and let her finish healing it. Veil and I raise the weapons of our fathers. Ready to lose on your own land? Veil says loudly as we circle each other. Or you could just bow down and surrender now, I call back, waving my sword toward the ground with a smirk. I don't think so. Veil glances back at her mother. Today, we fight to the end. The gong strikes, and we're off. This time, neither one of us holds back. We seem evenly matched as metal clashes again and again. Vigorous cheers and calls for certain blows ricochet off the mountains. Even clan members who aren't Gwyllion or Sylph join the fray with gusto. We stand toe-to-toe, blades slashing. Veil falls back first. I advance, hitting again and again. We find a rhythm. High, then low, then high again, we dance. Swiping at her knees, she dodges, easily predicting my moves. Though my father looks concerned, I try to stay focused. You've gotten good at this, I call out between blows. You must have had an excellent teacher. She was all right, Veil smirks. But I've come up with a few moves of my own. She lunges forward with a move I definitely didn't teach her, spinning through the air as she slices. I shift to dodge. A shooting pain from my unhealed wing zings through my back. I falter. Her blade catches my face, splitting a fine line through my cheek. The crowd gasps. I touch the cut, smearing the blood down my face. Veil looks just as shocked. My opening. I charge at her, Veil blocking my strikes as she draws back. No more playing around. I accent every word with a swing of my sword. I couldn't agree more. She finds her footing and our blades clash, locking in a standstill. She thrusts me back, releasing her feather wings, shooting into the air. I follow her, but my wings spasms again. I can't keep this up much longer. Our blades meet in the open sky, and I look for a weak spot. She's not guarding her left side. I thrust toward the inside of her free arm, making a gash. She hisses, stunned long enough that I aim for her sword. I hit hard, and she falls. Her father's blade clatters to the ground just out of reach. She stretches for it. I land, whipping my blade between her and the sword, daring her to reach for it again. She lifts her hands, her chest heaving. I follow her with the end of my blade until she shifts to her knee. I surrender, she says. The mountainsides erupt in surprise and cheers, my folk pounding the ground like a stampede. My father stands tall, nodding to me with the smallest lift at the corners of his mouth, while the Queen's face grows as purple as her gown. Congratulations, Veil says through heaving breaths, looking up at me. It's done. You've won. Not quite. I swallow hard and brace myself, knowing what I have to do next. I bring back my sword and thrust it toward her body. Veil gasps. The arena goes still. Her wide eyes don't stray from mine, not even to the blood pooling at her chest. There's only one thing she won't see coming, Veil had said in the cavern. Only one way that's sure to stop her plans. I clench my teeth, squeezing my eyes closed as I pull out my blade, now stained with Veil's blood. My stomach lurches as she gives me a sad smile and collapses to the ground. The Queen's face goes from raging purple to ghost white. Her blood-curdling scream echoes through the valley. Veil! 2 Gwyllion guards seize my arms and yank my sword away. I look at my father. His face has dropped, going from pleasure at my victory to confusion at my bloodshed. I've broken the rules that he set himself. There's nothing he can do to save me now. The Queen rushes to Veil's side as Aaron, Alice, and Hickory dart in from the crowd. I'm sorry, Mother. Veil tries to get out the words, blood trailing from her mouth. I did my best. Shh. Her mother holds her like a little sprout. It's going to be okay. Mother, Veil persists, coughing up more blood. I love you. Then her eyes roll back into her head. Her chest stills. Taking Veil's wrist in his hand, Aaron feels for a pulse. He turns to the Queen with wide eyes. I'm so sorry, Your Majesty. She's gone. He turns to me in a fury. What did you do? The Queen's eyes fill with tears and rage. You'd already won. Why do this? I take a breath. You took my brother, so I took your daughter. Her eyes flash. Picking up Veil's blade, she stands and points the sword directly at me. Guards, give her back her weapon.
Gwendolyn, what are you doing?
My father calls. That's Queen, Gwendolyn, to you. She points the sword at him. I am still Queen. Your daughter has broken the rules of the Etherdyne. She points the weapon back at me. So I challenge her in my daughter's stead. The entire crowd stands still as the guards let go of me. They hand me back my weapon and back away, giving us the field. The usually demure Queen removes her robe and casts it to the ground, revealing long, toned arms. She swings her late husband's blade powerfully through the air with precision, settling into a starting stance that's not one of a pampered royal, but of a trained warrior. Wait. Something she said weeks ago flashes through my mind. Her father had been a sylph guard, and her third husband, Veil's father, had been head of the militia. I narrow my eyes. It looks like she was trained well. But so was I. "No one will interfere," the Queen commands loudly, though her tear-stained glare doesn't waver from my face. This is it. I narrow my eyes, taking my own stance. Long live the Queen. Releasing her feathered wings, Queen Gwyllion leaps into the air, flying toward me with a terrible cry. With all her rage, she hurtles her blade down on me. I brace my sword against the blow. The surprising force sends tremors through my arms, nearly bringing me to the ground. I push back with a groan, shoving her back into the air. The effort sends pain radiating through my back again. I'm not going to last long like this. I prepare to lunge forward, but the Queen shoots down at me again savagely, her eyes wild, forcing me to the ground. I block, dive, and duck. Her swings are so blindingly fast, I don't have a moment to retaliate. I miss deflecting her next stab, and it jams into my already weakened wing. My breath hitches, and I cry out as she yanks the blade free. She sneers. I'm panting, sweat pooling down my face and into my eyes. This has to end. Now. I can't let Veil's sacrifice be in vain. The Queen thrusts her blade again at my shoulder, but I lift my arm just in time. She falters, and I bring my arm down over hers, pinning the Queen to my side. "This is for my brother," I whisper. Flipping my blade around, I drive the handle into her chest, knocking the wind out of her. The Queen collapses to her knees. Before she can recover, I kick at her hand. Her sword releases from her grasp long enough for me to catch it. Turning her own blade against her, I corner her with weapons crossed, her neck trapped between the blades. The guards rush in. I bring the blades closer, warning them to back off. "Tell them!" I command the Queen as the horrified crowd watches us breathlessly. "Tell them all the truth. What you did, what you've been planning, and I won't kill you." The Queen hesitates. "You wouldn't dare." "Wouldn't I?" I inch the blades closer. "Thanks to you, I have nothing left to lose." The razor-sharp edges graze her neck. Okay, she relents, eyes on the swords. She starts to whisper. "Louder," I demand. "The Ethodine is a sham," she yells. The crowd erupts in shocked murmurs. "I was never going to let anyone but Veil win." Her voice cracks at the end. She's failed in the worst possible way. "That's not all, is it?" I glare, tightening my fingers on the hilts. "Tell them what you were going to do with the winnings." The Queen's eyes widen, then narrow. "They finally got to you, didn't they? The mystics." Before she can say any more, I press the blades further, drawing blood. "Wait!" she cries out. "There's an ancient item that can bring the Pneuma back to our world." The crowd's murmurs grow louder. "I needed the Moonstones and Blood Oath to create it. With it, I could have controlled the Pneuma and made Phalenians bow to the Sylphs once and for all." My jaw shifts. This isn't the exact story the mystics told us. Does she not know the true nature of the Pneuma? Or were the mystics partly mistaken? Either way, her confession is enough to dethrone her. "Arrest her!" my father's voice booms. Gwyllion soldiers rush to the Queen. She thrashes in their grasp, trying to lunge at me, landing on her knees. "You may have stopped this plan, pirate, but I will destroy you for what you have taken from me today." "Mother?" comes a soft, familiar voice as gasps flood the valley. The Queen halts, rage draining as her daughter steps into her line of sight, dried blood caked around a wound that's no longer there. "Veil," the Queen stammers, shaking. "How?" It doesn't matter. Veil kneels in front of her. "I'm okay. Really." Hickory and Aaron smile as Alice replaces her glove. It worked. With the Queen in her weakest and most vulnerable state, Aaron used his silver tongue, persuading her that Veil was already dead. Then, while all eyes were on me and the Queen, Aaron and Hickory blocked in Alice, who was able to heal her. Veil eyes me. The element of surprise. "It's all right, Mother. Vale smiles sadly at her, glancing at the guards still holding the Queen's arms. The worst is over. But I'm not finished yet. I'm sorry, Vale. It isn't over quite yet. I lift my father's sword toward the Queen again. Where's my brother? If you've hurt him, so help me. The Queen's expression goes from confusion to amusement in a matter of seconds.
The mystics didn't tell you?
Tell me what? I demand. She coughs out a laugh.
I don't have him, my dear. I never did. After stealing something precious to me, your brother escaped my clutches into the Neverworld.
My head whirls. The Neverworld? But that would mean Gaius was the spy the mystics had mentioned? You're lying. My blade trembles in my hand. It's another trick. It has to be. Why wouldn't they have told me? The Queen shrugs with a smirk.
If you don't believe me, then you should ask them.
She points at the sky as screams ring out across the valley. Shadows loom over us. Shrieking figures fill the air like a swarm of locusts, blocking out the sun. Goblins. There are hundreds of them. They swoop down on the mountainsides and the battlefield around me, fangs bared and talons raised.
Quinn!
Aaron yells, and I turn. 2 goblins have him firmly by the arms as if they mean to pull him apart. I go for him, but his eyes widen at something behind me.
Watch out!
One of the goblins knocks my blade to the ground, while another grabs me from behind. He wraps his arms so tight around my arms and chest that it's hard to breathe. Around us, goblins patrol the sky and fill the valley, hissing with talons poised to strike anyone who makes a wrong move. They've detained all the soldiers, taking their weapons, turning them on us.
My queen, you don't want to do this,
Aaron says slowly, his words rippling through the air. He's trying to use his silver tongue on her again.
Gag him,
the Queen commands. She was too emotional to resist his gift before. Now she has her guard up.
I don't want one peep coming out of him.
Reclaiming her usual poised posture, she turns to me.
You thought you were so clever. I bet you weren't counting on my friends here.
Gwyllion, you traitor!
My father yells through a gang of goblins encircling the clan lords.
What's the meaning of this?
Calls Lord Kaito. He has his trident poised toward the goblin inching toward them. At least some of the folk are still armed.
One way or another, I will have what I want, the Queen tells them calmly. You will put down your weapons and hand over your moonstones, or I will make sure Vale is the only heir left alive to rule.
A goblin points a Gwyllion sword inches from my neck, while the one holding me squeezes harder.
They await my command.
The Queen lifts a hand.
Believe me, these creatures are not as patient as I am.
Mother, don't! Vale calls, also restrained by a goblin.
This is for your own good, Vale, for the good of all of Phelan. You'll see very soon.
No, you don't understand! The Queen waves her hand, and another goblin gags Vale. The Queen turns back to the clan lords.
Now, hand over the stones, or you can watch your legacies end here and now.
I hang my head. I'm doomed. My father has never given in to threats easily, and he isn't going to start now. Strangely, a peace washes over me. At least this way, the Queen won't win. When I lift my head, my father is pulling off one of the many rings on his fingers. As he does, the stone inside it glows a bright red. The Gwyllion moonstone. No. I watch in horror as the other leaders follow. Lord Torlon removes the orb from the top of his staff. It lights up with a greenish hue. Lord Kaito takes a gem from his trident. It takes on a bluish sheen. Lord Zephin removes his goggles, pulling off a gold stone embedded in the strap. What are you doing? Stop! I shout at them.
If we don't do this, then we lose everything,
my father says solemnly, refusing to look my way. I can't tell if he means losing the only heir to his throne or losing his daughter. His unusually soft tone makes me hope it's a little of both. My heart sinks as the goblins collect the stones and hand them to the Queen.
Very wise move.
The Queen motions to the goblins.
Now we fly. Bring the heirs.
What? My father barks, his muscles tightening. Though unarmed and outnumbered, he advances toward her. The goblins hiss at him to stand down.
Please, you have what you need. Leave our younglings alone,
Lord Talon pleads.
I told you, your spawn's blood is necessary to my plan,
the Queen shoots back.
The creation of the ancient item I require calls for royal blood from each clan heir. They'll be coming with me. And if you follow, she warns, I'll personally make sure they suffer slowly and painfully.
The Queen and her goblin army take to the skies, dragging the 5 of us with them into the air. I fight the one holding me, but with my damaged wing, I fear the drop more than the goblin. Below us, the lords helplessly watch us go. Except for my father. He's already turned away. Flying toward the woodlands, I see our destination ahead. The sacred vine. Chapter 9. We failed. How did the tables turn so quickly? We were sure we'd thought of everything. Everything except for the Queen having help. And from the goblins, no less. Has she been controlling them this whole time? The goblins' black wings must be stronger than any normal fairies, because they don't stop until we approach our destination, the sacred vine. As they fly, out of the flapping of their wings wafts an overpowering scent. A bittersweet mix of pixie dust and ash. It comes on wings of ash and dust. My chest tightens. This is it. The mystic prophecy is finally coming to pass. I look up to the darkening sky, the moons clustering together, nearly ready for the moon harvest. The end is coming. As the flying horde lands at the base of the vine, the Fae of Shri scatter, shrieking as goblins rush the streets. Wings of all kinds take to the skies in the forest as shopkeepers barricade themselves in their stalls. No one's coming to help us. Our captors drag the 5 of us to a dirt clearing near the base of the vine, lining us up in an arc before the Queen. Though Aaron is still gagged, that doesn't stop him from trying to wriggle out of the goblin's grasp, his worried eyes fixed on me. Alice is struggling too. She glares at the goblins furiously, probably remembering what they did to Toma. She tries to remove her gloves, but her goblin captor holds her hands firmly behind her back. Hickory helplessly watches Vale as she attempts to reason with her mother once again, her muffled pleas barely distinguishable through her gag.
Mother, please!
The Queen ignores her, inspecting the area around us and observing the moons above until she's satisfied.
Perfect. Now, we begin.
She waves a hand to the remaining goblins, and they spread out. Some of them clear branches away from the vine's trunk, while others grab pickaxes and shovels from a nearby blacksmith stand and drive them into the earth. No longer in attack mode, their elongated arms drag along the floor, heads hanging low. What did she do to them? Hickory whispers to me as we watch the goblins dig. The creature holding him snarls as the Queen approaches.
Hickory dear, don't be rude. Please, speak up so we can all hear you.
I was just wondering, Hickory stammers. They're all fairies, yes? How did they end up like this? His captor sustains a low growl, saliva dripping from his fangs onto Hickory's shoulder. Hickory grimaces.
Ah, you should know the great potential of pixie dust more than anyone.
The Queen places a hand on the goblin's arm, and it stills.
My private team of sylph researchers and kobold inventors have been experimenting with dust concoctions over the years, testing enhancement potential. Criminals and vagrants have made for perfect test subjects. Most of them have been more than willing to join the cause. Well, the ones who survived.
She turns to me. Take Jasper, for instance. He was more than eager to enter the labyrinth, promising to kill you and bring your blood to me, or at least throw you off the scent. An icy cold settles in my core. Moonface had only been a distraction, working for the Queen's purposes. Had the dust he collected in the tunnels been for the Queen after all? Or did he have other deals on the side? I knew I should have sent someone more capable, the Queen scoffs. He was always much better at wrangling in test subjects who needed a bit more convincing. I think of Luna in Tartarus, begging for her life. If I hadn't saved her, then she probably would have been turned into one of these things. The Queen lifts my chin with her finger. It's a pity I needed you for the competition. You would have made a strong goblin.
Don't you touch her,
Aaron's voice threatens, and I turn to see he's edged the gag out of his mouth. The Queen snatches a knife from a goblin and presses it to my neck, shooting him a daring glare. One more word out of you, and I'll finish what Jasper couldn't. Aaron clamps his mouth shut, frantic eyes darting to me. The Queen grins. Everyone has a weakness. Who knew you had so many? She draws away from me, and I struggle to lunge after her as she points the knife at Aaron. You've been helpful in the past, my dear prince, but lately you've been more trouble than you're worth. Things would have been so much easier if my goblins had succeeded in disposing of you in the woodlands as planned, bringing me your blood. I freeze, seeing a flash of the goblin going after Aaron during the lynxicorn attack. Something had been in its hand. It must have been a syringe. She glares at the goblin restraining Aaron. Get that gag back on, and make sure it stays this time. The goblin quickly obeys. I narrow my eyes. Is that what you created them for? To do your dirty work? She whips back to me. The Numa have a life source that feeds our land, a source we once served them to acquire. Without it, our world is dying. So, I sought to create an advanced breed of Fae strong enough to infiltrate the Neverworld and force the Numa to serve us instead. In the end, it was samples from Noel's victims combined with pixie dust that helped us develop a formula for the perfect servants. The initial fever burned their bodies to a crisp, but if they survived, each creature became as strong as 10 Gwyllions, with a weak and easily malleable mind. The Queen pets the goblin's head and it lets out a grumbling purr. With the numbers we've experimented on, we now have the makings of an army of super fairies to do our bidding. We'll soon be ready to take complete control of both the Numa and Fairy World. No more threat of war or enslavement. Just complete peace under one rule. She means her rule. Her eyes are wild. She's so hungry for control that she can't even see she's already begun creating her own brand of enslavement. All we needed was a way into the Neverworld. The Queen's gaze trails back to me with a glare. I was hunting down the original key and finally had it within my grasp until it was stolen by your insolent brother. I grit my teeth, struggling against the goblin's hold. Thankfully, I was raised to always think through every angle, to have a plan for every possible scenario. In the event that I never gained possession of the key, I had set a secondary plan in motion to create a new key. I sought to collect the elements I needed peaceably, using the Etherdyne to aid my cause. As long as Vale won, she would have been awarded the Moonstones and the right to your blood without the mess of a war. Our world has already been through so much, but once again a Gwyllion heir is forcing me to take drastic measures. She snaps her fingers, and the goblins push us to the area where the others have been digging. At first, I fear we're being dragged to our graves. Instead, a pattern of winding trenches has been dug into the ground. It's the sign of the Numa. 3 circles, each smaller one inlaid inside the other, with the 10 petals of the iconic flower stretching over them. The key to power is the sign. Goblins carry over baskets of pixie dust and pour it into the trenches made by each flower petal. The queen takes the amulet from around her neck and pulls out the stone that now glows purple. The 5th and final moonstone. The 5 of us are stationed on the tip of every other petal, while the queen places each of our moonstones on the petal that lies opposite us. The symbol's petals have become dust-filled ditches, connecting us to our moonstones.
It's a ritual circle.
Hickory's eyes are wide as he stares at the queen.
You plan to sacrifice us?
In a way. Just enough blood for the ritual to be completed. The queen circles us as she speaks, motioning to the sky. According to the mystic tome, once the moons align, their light will illuminate the inner circle. This center circle represents the moons themselves, tying the outer circles of our 2 worlds together, Phelan and the Neverworld. The pixie dust will fuse your blood with the moonstones to create a new key, one that will finally open the door to the Neverworld. The queen motions to the sacred vine, where a large door etched into its base has been uncovered. The pneumanic symbol is at its center. It looks just like the painting of the door that was on Hickory's wall. The vine isn't just the root of our world. The portal to the Neverworld lives inside it. She stops in front of me. Once the door is opened, the goblin's first order of business is to find your brother and put an end to his miserable life. Panic flares within me, and I lunge again with all my might. The goblin holding me is too strong. The queen laughs. Tie up our guests and prepare them to make their blood oath. Be careful with Vale, but don't worry about spilling too much blood from the others. Everything moves in slow motion. I lock eyes with my friends as they attempt one last time to escape their captor's grasps. Alice fights the hardest, releasing her wings to try to fly away, kicking with all of her might. Her goblin holds both her wrists with one thick hand, using the other to wrap them tightly with a rope. With its sharp talon, it cuts her arm. I watch as her blood trickles into the ditch and magically travels across the dust-filled ditches to each moonstone. My captor spins me around and I try to fight too. I can't let this happen. But seeing the goblin's face, I stop. This goblin isn't a puck. She's a pixie. Past her fangs and disfigured form, I see the stubby horns and big rounded eyes. This goblin is Wit. Chapter 10. I stare into the eyes of my former friend, unable to move. It's as if I'm staring into a mirror. One thought keeps running through my mind. This could have been me. If I'd become captain of the Minnow, whatever steps led Wit here would have led me to this same fate. The awful things we last said to each other sit like a pit in my stomach. Her fangs and deformities perfectly depict our bitterness toward each other. Bitterness fully nurtured, fully grown, and fully manifested. Wit? I ask quietly as she binds a rope around my wrists. Wit, it's me, Quinn. Nothing. Wit doesn't flinch. Is she too far gone? More beast than fairy now? I can't believe that. I've got to know for sure. I know we didn't end on good terms, but do you really want me to bleed to death? Wit takes out her switchblade, the same one she used so many times on our missions, and cuts a deep gash in my arm. I yelp as blood trickles down into the ditch. Okay, I deserve that, I say, wincing, and I understand if you'd rather have me gone. But do you really want crazy lady over there to take over? To dictate your life like this? Are you really going to kill my brother? You're a pirate, Wit. You're not a stone-cold murderer. Wit growls, tightening my ropes. Wit, I whisper one more time, hanging my head. I understand why you resent me, why you did what you did. I'm impossibly selfish. I never deserved you as a friend. For my part, I want you to know, no matter what happens, I'm so sorry. For a brief moment, Wit stills. Her fangs recede, and her eyes search mine. Then the sound of a whip cracks. Wit howls. A goblin stands behind her with a long cord in his hand. Wit's fangs resurface as she thrusts me closer to the ritual circle. "The time has come!" The Queen points to the sky. This is it. In the starlit sky, the moons are clustered together, nearly aligned. Our combined blood has reached the moonstones. I stare again at the 4 Fae who were once my rivals. Now if we die, at least we'll die together as friends. The moons glide into place, and their united beam shines down to the middle of the symbol. The moonstones glow and send light through the sea of pixie dust, back to our bodies. A surge shoots through me, and I scream, the sound mingling with the screams of the others. It's as if hot light is filling every fiber of my body, threatening to increase until I explode. When the blinding light and pain finally recede, I gasp for breath and gaze into the ritual circle. There, formed by our blood and the magic of the moons and dust, stands a golden staff. It's studded with a pattern of new moonstones, each glowing with one of the 5 clan colors. It looks exactly like the Sylphic scepter depicted in the murals in Eldor. The key to power is the sign. No, not is. We must have had the translation wrong. The key to power is found in the sign. The scepter. It all makes sense now. The story of the Sylphic scepter was twisted just like the other parts of our history. It isn't what banished the Pneuma to the Neverworld. It's the key that allowed the Fae to travel to it. Beautiful. The Queen gazes at the scepter suspended in midair. Taking it in her hand, she runs her fingers over the engravings before heading toward the vine. Let's see what this can do. Bring Vale to me and gather up the other 4. They'll make strong goblins. The goblins yank us away from the symbol, and my heart races. We're going to become goblins. Gaius is going to die. Both worlds will be in ruins, and I'm out of ideas. The others look as exhausted as I feel. Even Alice, who had begun to heal herself, hangs her head in defeat. Something grazes my hands, cutting at the rope that binds me. Wit's switchblade. My eyes grow wide in confusion. "Run," she growls softly, the words coming out strained and garbled, even worse than Moonface's had. "I can't escape fate. You can." Wit is giving me an out. I could take it. It's what I always do when things get tough, and they're worse than ever now. But this time, looking at my friends, new and old, I can't. Somewhere along the way, I started to care. I started to need them. I can't abandon them now when they need me the most. We'll survive together, or we'll die together. Putting a hand on Wit's arm, I smile at her. You always forget Maverick's wise words, my friend. A pirate never retreats. Wit smiles back, fangs and all. Then you need this. She hands me her switchblade. I nod, and it's like we're back on the minnow, knowing each other's intentions without words. In one swift movement, Wit growls and turns on her fellow goblins who still have their hold on the others. Some goblins scatter while others launch themselves at her. I go for Alice's binds first. She grabs my arm. I have an idea. I don't even question her. Do it. The Queen spins around at the commotion.
What in Phelan is going on?
Alice puts her fingers to her mouth. My gaze connects with Vale's, and her eyes light up as Alice lets out a long whistle. As I dart for Hickory, a large winged figure looms overhead, striking fear in the goblins around us.
Dragon!
One of them cries as Toma descends on the scene. Alice mounts him, and together they attack. Toma breathes hot gusts of fire, and the goblins scatter. He lets out a booming roar. The ground trembles.
Another earthquake?
Hickory asks as I cut his binds. Not this time. I smile. I think it's reinforcements. Beasts of all kinds emerge from the woodlands. They pour into the streets of Shree, bounding toward us.
Yes!
Hickory cheers. He grabs a fallen sword and flies onto a passing horse that charges into the fray.
Let's do this!
Aaron tries to speak through the gag as I untie his hands. Pulling it away, he beams at me.
Have I told you that I love you lately?
I roll my eyes. I don't have time to decide if I've fully forgiven him for everything quite yet, let alone talk of love. Still, my heart races. Can't we maybe talk about this later? I allow a small laugh and put my switchblade in his hand. He returns it.
You're going to need this more than me in a minute.
What are you talking about? Before he can explain, a team of goblins comes running toward us, fangs bared. I go to throw the blade, but Aaron stops me and begins to sing. It's a wordless melody, eerie and beautiful at the same time. Immediately, the goblins stop and turn their rage on each other, as if now believing each other to be the enemy. Aaron nods.
Feels good to put this curse of mine to good use.
He grabs my shoulders. I freeze, thinking he's about to kiss me. He just smiles.
I'll hold these goons off and make a safe path through so you can get to Vale and stop the Queen.
I nod as he points to where Vale is on the other side of the battle. Still gagged and held by the goblin at her back, she can only watch as her mother struggles to open the door with the scepter. There's still a sea of goblins separating us. I look at the switchblade in my hand, wishing I had my fire for the first time since it disappeared. I shrug. It's not much, but it's better than nothing. Following Aaron through the battle, I slice and stab, cutting down any who dare to lunge at me. Hickory cries out, and my head whips around. One of them has tackled him off his horse, and his sword is too far out of reach. The creature pins him to the ground, saliva dripping from its fangs. I take aim and fling the switchblade into the goblin's back. It falls lifelessly to the side. Another is quick to try and take its place. Aaron flies in, tackling the goblin to the ground. His song makes the creature go rigid as stone. Aaron holds out a hand to help Hickory up. He takes it gladly, and I sigh with relief. Hickory pulls the switchblade out of the other goblin's back, giving me a nod of thanks. Then his eyes fill with fear.
Look out!
Hickory points behind me. I whip around again. Lifting a clawed hand, a towering goblin moves to cut me down, then freezes mid-swing. His face goes slack as he drops to the ground, an arrow lodged in his head. War cries bellow from the streets. For a moment, I think I might be dreaming as Layman and my father fly in with the other lords, followed by a small army of Fae from every clan. The goblins screech, flying to meet them, colliding in the sky. Layman darts to me, shooting an arrow into a goblin's eye on the way. "How did you find us?" I ask, as he continues shooting down one goblin after another, blocking me from the battle. A flap of wings sound behind me. I snatch an arrow from Layman's quiver and spin, lodging it into the goblin's chest just in time.
"Nice work,"
Layman says as I yank the arrow out and keep my back to his, ready for the next attack.
"Your father called for the clans to unite right after the 5 of you were taken. We followed in the direction the goblins flew until the beam of moonlight confirmed your location. We're just sorry we couldn't get here sooner."
Wait, my father did what? I ask in disbelief, scanning the battle. Phaedon is cutting down the goblins with his broadsword in hand, completely in his element. He's side by side with Lord Kaito, who swings his triton, calling water from a nearby fountain to crash over the creatures as an army of tunnelers barrel through the streets at Lord Zephin's command.
"Layman, could use your help over here, son,"
Lord Torlon calls. I expect to see the Dryad Lord in trouble. Instead, he ducks the curled horns on his head and changes into a giant black ram, pummeling through a crowd of goblins. Lady Navi follows him, her arms shifting into green vines that wind tightly around the goblins, tossing them in the air. Layman chuckles.
"Can't let my parents have all the fun? You all right on your own?"
I cock a brow at him. "Please, I'm the pirate Shade. Menace of the
5 provinces. Yeah.
He smiles.
"You might want these back then. Your father found them in your preparation room and asked me to give them to you."
Reaching into his belt, he takes out the twin daggers I left behind. My chest tightens. Gaius. All this will be for nothing if I fail to save him again. I take the daggers. Thank you. Layman nods.
I'll clear you a path.
In seconds, he shifts into his wolf form and rushes back into the fight, taking down goblin after goblin between me and the sacred vine. Layman can't handle them all. With my trusty daggers back in my hands, I furiously fight my way through the swarm. On the way, I pass Alice and Toma in the thick of things. Without a word between us, they position themselves to handle the goblins at my back. Toma lets out a loud roar, and soon Aaron and Hickory are fighting their way over to us too, guarding my sides. Finally, I see Vale. She remains bound and guarded ahead, with the queen standing in front of the door in the sacred vine. It's still closed. Thank Phelan. Lunging forward with my own battle cry, I take down the last goblins in my way. I fling a dagger at the one holding Vale, and it lodges in his temple. As he falls to the ground, Vale lifts her hands hurriedly to remove her gag. "Quinn, wait! Don't!" she calls out. It's too late. I throw the other dagger right at the queen. She spins and points the scepter at the weapon. The scepter's magic flings my blade to the side. No! I halt. I've done it again. Acted too fast and too rashly. I have no defenses left. The queen sneers.
You come at me with knives while I hold the most powerful weapon in the world.
She points the scepter at me. The air crushes in around me as I'm lifted off the ground.
Who's the strongest now?
She taunts. I look at my friends using everything they have to fight the enemy, while I hang helplessly in the air. I'm useless. Weak. The scepter crushes harder, as if a fist is closing around me, grinding my bones. Just as black spots form in my vision, Vale yells and leaps at her mother. They tumble to the ground together, including the scepter. I collapse and gasp for air. I struggle to get up as the queen grabs the scepter again. This time, she points it at Vale. "You ungrateful girl!" she yells. "I've sacrificed so much for you, and how do you repay me?" Now Vale is the one in the air, clawing for breath. "Mother, please, don't," she gasps. "Why, Vale? Why would you turn on me?" Vale takes in a short breath. "Everything I've done is for your own good, Mother." Vale's courage sets my blood ablaze, melting my icy fears. A familiar heat that I thought I'd lost sparks. Though it singes my chest, strength returns to my bones. I might have one weapon left. I catch sight of Alice and Toma fending off a goblin horde. Her voice rings in my mind.
Gift or curse, your ability does not define you. What you do with it, that's what defines you.
The heat inside me burns hotter as I recall the memories of Alice healing me, even despite the pain it inflicted on her. Hickory is still battling with all his might. I think of him trusting me with his darkest fears and craziest theories. Vale struggles for her last breath, and I remember her one wish, to make her father proud. My blood boils. In the battle, Aaron uses his song to fight. His words from earlier come back to me.
Feels good to put this curse of mine to good use.
No holding back. I grit my teeth. Not anymore. I know what I have to do. And though this move will mean losing my brother again, maybe forever, it also means saving him. Saving everyone. I raise my hands, and instead of letting bitterness and anger fuel me, I call forth all the good I've experienced on this journey. Fire blazes in my hands. I hiss through the pain, and it quickly extinguishes. What had Hickory and Alice said that night in the tunnels? Maybe something is blocking you. You need to let go. It isn't enough to embrace the good. I have to let go of what's holding me back. Let's go, I command myself through clenched teeth. In that moment, I let go of everything I can think of. My bitterness toward Wit, my hatred and disappointment with my father, my jealousy of Vale and her mother, my anger toward Aaron and Hickory and anyone who's ever lied to me, my need to prove everyone wrong and to do everything myself. And finally, my guilt over Gaius and my mother. It's as if I hear Gaius's voice calling me. I can feel his hand on my shoulder as the fire burns.
You can let go of me, Quinn. It's okay. I forgive you. Now you need to forgive yourself. Let go.
I don't want to let go. I don't want to lose you again. My eyes squeeze shut. But I'll try. I shake, erupting inside until it feels like liquid fire is pooling out of my eyes, spilling out over my cheeks. No, not liquid fire. My eyes shoot open. I'm crying. Pain like I've never felt before radiates as a flood of emotions pounds my body, thrumming through me like an unyielding wave. Something deep inside me unlocks. My tears turn into a battle cry as I raise my hands and extend my fingers toward the scepter. Flames shoot with precision as I scream, hot tears running down my face. Just like Pilo and Lyra's flames, my ever-growing fire takes on a distinct shape. The monstrous form of a ferocious dragon. It launches forward, building as it moves through the air, releasing a crackling roar. The metal staff heats in the queen's hands. She scowls through the burn, hanging on through gritted teeth until she's forced to fling it away with a scream. Holding her damaged hand to her chest, she gapes at me in disbelief. I'm not finished. I keep my fire trained on the scepter, the gold heating until it burns so brightly that it lights up Shri like daytime. No! The queen screams, diving for the scepter again. Vale leaps toward her and pulls her back just in time. In a loud burst, the scepter explodes into a cloud of 1,000,000 pixie dust particles. My flames recede. My hands fall to my sides, and I sway from the exertion. I did it. We did it. I collapse to the ground, welcoming the darkness. Chapter 11. Come on, Quinn. A small voice calls to me in the darkness. Come back to us. A surge of pain. Light breaks into my vision, and I slowly open my eyes. 4 familiar faces hover over me. Alice is the closest, giving me a strained smile. Her tattered clothing reveals more of her tattoos, glowing like never before. This feels familiar, I groan. Alice's healing continues to work its magic as she holds my arm. She isn't the only one clutching me.
Oh, thank Phelan,
Aaron says, squeezing my hand.
Don't you ever do that again.
The memory of my fire blazing comes back to me. The dragon inside. You mean my fire? I ask hesitantly. I'm exposed for all to see, to judge.
No way, that was epic.
Hickory chimes in, giving my other arm a shake. The others give him a look.
What? It was.
I think what we're all trying to say is... Vale shakes her head, patting my hand. No more dying for a while, okay? I'll do my best. I try to laugh, though my body aches with the effort. It's all worth it. They accept me. I give a nod to the dried blood on Vale's chest. Speaking of dying, sorry for stabbing you. It's all right. Thanks to this one, I'm doing just fine. Vale puts a hand on Alice's shoulder. Besides, it was the only thing she wouldn't see coming. I follow her gaze to find the fighting has ended in the short time since I passed out, and guards are hauling her mother away. She lied to me because she thought it would protect me. It was time that I did something just as drastic to save her. The queen looks sorrowfully back at Vale. Then her stare turns to ice as her eyes shift to mine, promising vengeance. I look away, reminding myself that she no longer has a hold on me or anyone else. What happened to the goblins? I ask. Then I panic. Where's Wit?
You mean the goblin who fought with us?
Hickory asks. She's been willingly detained. We're going to try to help her, and to learn more about what we're dealing with." Though relieved, I'm still confused. And the others?
It was so strange.
Aaron looks to the woodlands.
Once you destroyed the key, a loud sound echoed over Shree, like some sort of horn. The goblins took off into the forest. The queen tried to call them back, but they abandoned her.
They just gave up? I ask in disbelief.
Yeah, it was weird.
Hickory shrugs. Alice's grip loosens. Her tattoos return to black, leaving dark circles under her eyes. "Alice, are you okay?" I ask. Alice nods.
"I'll need quite the nap after all this. Honestly, though, no longer having to hide or lie about my gift is more than I could ask for."
I smile knowingly. Though I have no idea how my father, the Gwyllions, or Phelan at large will react to my forbidden mystic fire, I resonate with Alice's relief. My fire's a gift, not a curse. Today, I've proven it can be used for good. I can be used for good. And with all of our gifts put together, we are 10 times stronger than if we had tried to do anything on our own. Gaius was right. I may not be the strongest, but I have a different kind of strength.
"What happens now?"
An angry voice breaks through my thoughts. Aaron helps me stand as we watch the nymph lord arguing with the other clan leaders gathered nearby.
"Though we're all happy the queen is dethroned, who won the crown? My boy was next in the ranking after those 2 cheaters."
Lord Kaito points his trident at me and Vale.
"I think we all know Aaron deserves to be the fairy king."
"What? This whole competition was a scam to begin with. The queen confessed it herself."
Lord Zephin challenges.
"Hickory knows the most about these Numa creatures, and we all know that his painting in isinglass warned us of a coming darkness. If anyone, he should be king."
"My brothers, we have no reason to war against each other."
Lord Torlon tries to reason with them.
"With the Dryad's extensive knowledge of the sacred vine and the nature of our world, what Phelan needs now is a healer at the helm. Alice is the perfect—"
"Are you insane? She may be able to heal, but she also has the sign of the enemy imprinted on her arm."
Kaito points to Alice, her pneumonic tattoo showing through the cuts in her clothes. He pinches the bridge of his nose and frowns.
"Well, if we can't agree, maybe we should settle it on the battlefield after all. Right, Phaedon?"
My father turns around, and my once heated body freezes solid. The Gwyllions would never let a fire-wielding mystic rule them. Now that my secret is out, he has no reason to call me his daughter, let alone fight for my right to the crown. Lady Navi squeezes Torlon's arm.
"Does this mean we return to war?"
"Is that seriously what matters to all of you?" Aaron demands as I lean on him for support. "Our world was nearly overtaken by an army of goblins and a power-hungry sorceress. No offense, Vale." She just motions for him to go on. "And the only thing you all can think of is who should wear the crown?" The clan leaders look at each other silently.
"Well, we made our blood oath to the heir we thought deserved to lead. So you can all lower your weapons and bow to the new ruler of Phelan."
"What?" I stare at him.
"We have? When?
Who?" Aaron takes my hands in his. Then he lowers to one knee and bows. My breath catches as Hickory, Vale, and Alice follow. I shake my head violently. "No." Aaron's gaze goes from my face to my arms. Pulling my hands free from him, I see something else is mixed in the dirt and ash that cover them. 4 distinct handprints encircle my arms, all dark red with drying blood. My competitor's blood. Their blood oath. "No," I say aloud, my voice soft but growing strong. "This is wrong. I'm not a leader. Not a good one anyway. I don't deserve this."
"Agreed,"
says Lord Kaito.
"You had no right to do this without our consent. To choose a vagrant, a pirate for our highest position? It's unspeakable."
You will not talk to my daughter that way.
My father finally speaks.
Or rather, your queen. For what she did today for all of us, you owe her your allegiance.
I expect to see my father's lust for power lighting his eyes, motivating his words. But his eyes are soft and certain. And there's something else I've only seen in other fathers' faces. A father's pride. He kneels before me, and my breath hitches. This is the moment I've always wanted from my father. For him to recognize my strength, to believe in me. Though my heart swells at the sight, it isn't what I need anymore. Wait, please. Everyone stop. I raise my hands, collecting my thoughts. This time, I speak louder for everyone in the vicinity to hear. This was not a victory for just one fairy. It's a victory for all. It wasn't a battle of the Ithia, proving which clan is better. It showed us how powerful it is when we align our strengths together. I point toward the woodlands. We still have enemies out there, and our world needs us to unite, not to serve one master. I turn to my friends. I'm honored and undeserving, especially after everything I've put you through. But if there must be a queen, I don't want to rule without you. So, as my first act as queen, I share the crown with each of you and ask that we create our own council where all voices are heard. We do this together or not at all. Do you accept? Vale stands with a smile, and the rest follow. I think I speak for everyone when I say, we picked the right queen. The others nod in agreement. We're going to need some help, of course. I look back at the clan leaders. As I confer with my council, we'll need guidance from our elders. We'll need leaders to help us bring Phelan through this time of transition. Do you accept?
I do.
My father is the first to respond.
We do as well.
Lord Torlon nods along with Lady Navi.
I like your spunk, Your Majesty.
Lord Zephin smiles his slanted grin next to Lady Irina.
We accept.
Lord Kaito takes a hesitant step to me.
I'm willing to comply for now.
He looks deep into my eyes.
But at the first sign of trouble, my folk won't hesitate to go to war.
I nod. Agreed. Chapter 12. Gazing into the mirror, I barely recognize myself. A week after the battle in Shree, I stand in my new chambers in Eldor, dressed from head to toe in the finest silks. My makeup is dramatically done just the way I like it, the fairy crown sitting heavily on my head. I'm no longer Pirate Shade or Princess Quinn. I am Queen Quintessa, the first Gwyllion fairy queen in generations. Now I even look the part thanks to Vale, who appears in the reflection behind me. I know I'm a genius, but even I didn't think I could make you look this good. Vale nearly squeals. What do you think? She spent the entire day with her servants, dressing me up like I'm one of her dolls. Though I know part of her is trying to keep her mind off her mother in the dungeons below. The dungeon I put her in. A pang of guilt and fear of the days to come rushes through me. Though I may look the part, can I actually do it? This is much more than being captain of a ship, or even leader of a clan. Sure, I've always chased after a position of true strength and hungered for a chance to prove my worthiness. But have I really earned this? Can I lead an entire world? Honestly, I square my shoulders, turning my head from side to side. I kind of feel like a fraud. Vale's posture sags. Don't get me wrong, you definitely outdid yourself. I quickly reassure her. I just can't help feeling that you should be wearing this crown. Vale's smile returns as she attempts to tame my frizzy curls. Because of you, we all wear it. You just get to be the one who carries the load. Her smile fades. Besides, after what my mother did, I count myself lucky that I'm not down in the dungeons with her. You're not your mother, Vale. I squeeze her hands, and she returns the gesture. And you're right. We now get to figure this out together. We spent so long being at each other's throats. Who knew we were meant to be sisters? What will you do now? I ask her. Besides being part of the council, of course. Honestly, I don't know what I want to do yet. Vale purses her lips. But for the first time, I'm excited to find out.
Knock, knock.
Aaron sings from the doorway, and my heart leaps. With everything that's happened, there hasn't been time for us to really talk. My hands grow hot. Ouch! Vale pulls away. Sorry. I fold my fingers behind me, commanding my cheeks not to burn, though I know I'm failing. Under all this makeup, I hope he can't tell. Yes? He smiles.
We're ready for you.
Entering the great hall where we first heard the rules of the Ethodyne, all 5 of us are back where we started. This time, a large wooden table with 5 sides stands at the center. Around it are 5 unique chairs, each designed to represent a different clan. One made of iron for the Gwyllions, one of sea glass for the nymphs, a wooden one for the dryads, another covered in feathers for the sylphs, and the last one shimmers with a pixie dust coating for the kobolds. It's the intricate designs etched into the table that really catch my eye. Hickory, your drawings, I marvel. My hand runs over his depictions of our journey through the Ethodyne that are carved into the wood. He's wrapped our story around the edges so I can follow the tale as I circle the table. Hickory beams.
I had all the pieces custom built. I wanted to make sure that the set had a part of each of our clans. May it forever be a reminder to us and to all of Phelan of what we've learned and why we now rule the way we do.
I wipe a tear from my eye. Blast, Hickory. We're not even dead yet and you already have us memorialized. I chuckle, trying to cover the joy welling up. I'm still not used to being so emotional. Aaron walks over to the iron chair and pulls it out.
Your throne, my queen.
He dips into a dramatic bow and I lightly punch his shoulder. As we all sit down, reality sinks in. We're the rulers of Phelan now, and there's so much to be done. Turning to Alice, I get down to business. How's Wit's progress? Completely ungloved, Alice's tattoos are proudly revealed for all to see. She places a hand on my arm.
Wit is stable for now. It seems her goblin nature might be reversible, but it'll take time. She's been asking for you.
I wince. I haven't looked in on Wit since she was taken in. Though it'll be hard to see her like that, I make a mental note to go visit her soon. After I relay Alice's report to our team, Hickory clears his throat.
Alice has also agreed to let some of the kobolds take a look at her healing ability and see if we can find a cure for the gnolls.
Alice's eyes light up. She'll finally be able to help others with her ability, even if she wasn't able to save her sister. I'm so happy for her, but I bite the inside of my lip as I think of my own siblings still alive, stuck somewhere in the Neverworld. How about the Mystics? Have we located any of them yet? I ask. No one's seen them since our time with them underground, not even during the battle in Shree. I worry we'll never find them again. Or Gaius.
Funny you should mention that.
Hickory turns to one of the pillars.
You can come out now.
Out walks Pilo, leaning on his staff. I shoot up and draw the sword at my side. Stay where you are, liar, I threaten. Apparently, this is exactly what everyone expected I'd do, as they all clamber to their feet, throwing up their hands to stop me.
Quinn, without him, we never would have been able to stop the Gwendolyn.
Aaron cautions me. Because of him, I'm no closer to finding my brother, I snarl. Pilo's hands are raised in surrender. Why didn't you tell me he was in the Neverworld? What did you have to gain?
We had nothing to gain, and everything to lose.
Pilo reassures me, careful not to move a muscle.
The former queen might be behind bars, but we don't think she was working alone. She may have been acting under someone else's orders. If we're right, Our remaining brethren are too few and too weak to give up all of our secrets just yet. The mystics needed to stay hidden, and if it came down to it, we needed you to destroy the key. We couldn't give you a reason to hesitate and have it fall into the wrong hands.
My blade falters as I remember Aaron saying the goblins seemed to be called away, abandoning the former queen in the end.
As for Gaius, he's the one who sought us out in the beginning. He couldn't accept that you were dead when you first disappeared from Greymarrow. He searched for you, for answers. Like you, he found more than what he intended. He found us.
My anger dissipates and I lower my sword. Gaius was looking for me? Pilo takes a tentative step forward.
I've been thinking more about your dreams. I believe Gaius might have been initially using dream power to try contacting us from the Neverworld. Instead, he somehow reached you. We assumed this was because of your connection as his twin, and possibly because of your mother.
Tears well up with joy and confusion. I was right. Gaius was trying to talk to me this whole time. I pause. What do you know about my mother?
Now that the immediate danger is over, we can answer more questions.
He reassures me.
We can even train you, all of you, to harness the full extent of your abilities. In secret, of course. When Gaius finds what he's looking for on the other side, he'll return to us.
My brows furrow at his avoidance of my question, but a more pressing one rises to the surface. What exactly is Gaius looking for? Pilo hesitates, looking at Hickory, and then me.
I can't say at the moment. If he secures it, we'll not only defeat the goblins and whoever leads them now, but we'll also return the moon rain before the prophesied destruction can come to pass.
Wait, didn't we stop that from happening already? Asks Vale.
You kept the weapon out of evil's hands, yes. Now the moon rain must return for Phelan to be saved. We need to be patient. We must give Gaius more time.
We might not have time, I say, and all eyes turn to me. There's one thing I haven't told you. The dreams I've been having of Gaius. They've stopped. If what you say is true, what if they've stopped because something's happened to him? I'm terrified of losing him again. How can I just sit around and wait for him to come back if he's in trouble? A hand touches my shoulder.
We'll save him, Quinn.
Aaron looks at me with reassuring eyes. Yes, Vale says, along with all of Phelan. Peace between the clans is still fragile, and there's so much to do, but we'll figure this out. Alice places her hand on my other shoulder with a nod.
We'll do it together.
Hickory smiles. A hopeful heat wells up inside me as I look at my friends. Stretching out my hand, I conjure a ball of fire. Pointing it at the table, I light the candles at the center. It's as if the torch at Gaius's tomb is relit all over again. Our next challenge lies ahead of us. I smile. Together. Epilogue. Gwendolyn.
It's been a week in the dungeons. My own dungeons. I wrinkle my nose. It's becoming harder to distinguish which smells worse, the dingy cell or me. The new queen obviously doesn't know what to do with me. She hasn't even deigned to grace me with her presence since I was thrown in here. Queen Quintessa. I scoff at the thought of her treacherous pirate bottom on my beautiful throne, the throne where my Vale was supposed to sit. Vale. My only love. The one I sacrificed everything for. I clench my fists, nails biting into my skin. I can't believe she betrayed her own mother to put a backstabbing vagrant in the very position she was born to have. What was she thinking? I say aloud, knowing only the rats will hear me. I sit on the creaky cot, and my face falls into my hands. I go back over the details. Everything was perfect. I had it all worked out.
You've always thought yourself so clever,
comes a voice as smooth and oily as butter. The hair on the back of my neck stands on end, and my head snaps up. He stands in the dim light on the other side of the bars, his hand on the hilt of his sword at his side.
All it took was one measly pirate to make all your careful planning come crashing down.
I stand from my cot. Maverick. I thought being in the dungeons meant the pirate lord wouldn't be able to get to me. Obviously, I was wrong. At least there are iron bars between us. I take a small step back and lift my chin. If you hadn't trained her so well, perhaps things would have gone differently. How was I supposed to know that she had the mystic fire in her blood? If you hadn't called the goblins away at the last minute, I could have—
Enough!
Maverick hisses. He closes his hand into a fist, and my mouth shuts hard against my will.
You dare blame me for your shortcomings?
I shake my head violently, eyes widening. I can't force another word out of my mouth in either defense or groveling. My throat seizes. I can barely breathe.
You were supposed to weaken the clans, not strengthen them. I supplied all the pirates necessary to make enough goblins to keep the clans in line, and you couldn't even succeed with them by your side. Your excuses mean nothing.
His eyes narrow.
You said you'd be able to create a new key without a war, and against my better judgment, I allowed you to play your little game to do so. I even handed Quinn to you on a silver platter. I've been patient long enough, Gwyllion. Now, come.
Though I try to fight it, my body obeys his words. My trembling legs stride forward until I'm right in front of him. My eyes grow wider as he steps closer, with only the bars and inches of air between us.
We tried things your way,
he says, a mix of sea salt and rot on his breath.
Now, we do things my way.
Thanks so much for listening to Edge of Fates, the finale episode of my On Wings of Ash and Dust miniseries. Are you excited for the continuation of this story? On Wings of Crowns and Chaos is the full-length sequel you're going to want to read or listen to next, which continues Quinn and her friends' epic adventure. If you're listening to this audiobook after April 10th, 2026, the ebook and print book for Crowns and Chaos are already available, and the audiobook should be available very soon. If you like, you can pre-order or order the book in any format through the link in the description of this video. Until then, make sure to subscribe to this channel so you don't miss any more updates about this series and other books I release. I hope you enjoyed this story so much, and I'd love to chat about it with you in the comments.